night for a big game in Miami, Florida, as the Cornhuskers of Nebraska are set to go against the Bengal Tigers of LSU in the 49th Orange Bowl Classic. Ready to go at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Don Criqui with John Brody. Warm and humid, just like LSU likes it. The Tigers from Baton Rouge coming in under coach Jerry Stovall. Now in his third year, the former all-pro defensive back with the St. Louis Cardinals. Having lost a couple of games they didn't expect to lose, but they've been most impressive in all their big games, like against Alabama. And Tom Osborne, who runs the football show at Nebraska, has another great team. It seems he always does, but they say offensively this may be the very best yet. And certainly the best overall Cornhusker team since the '71 national champions who locked up that national title right here in the Orange Bowl. LSU receives to start the game. Eric Martin is back deep. A very dangerous return man. Second best kick returner in the country. As Seibel kicks it far downfield, and here comes Eric Martin. He is to the 20, fumbled football, and Martin gets his own fumble, goes down at the 23. And there, the Bengal Tigers of LSU go on offense, 1st and 10. 15-yard return by Eric Martin, a converted running back to wide receiver. He'll start at one wide out. The quarterback is a very good one. Alan Risher, senior from Slidell, Louisiana. Dalton Hilliard, the freshman who scored 16 touchdowns, and the blocking fullback Mike Muntz in the backfield. LSU set to go 1st and 10 from the 23. Herman Fontenot in motion. Dalton Hilliard runs the ball. And Hilliard, who averaged almost 5 yards a carry, led LSU in rushing as a freshman with 900 yards, gets ahead, and it's going to be 2nd down and 7. The wide receivers, Eric Martin, and the flanker, Herman Fontenot. Malcolm Scott, a big, good receiving, good blocking tight end. Big people up front, Clinton Berry, Mike Turner, Mike Gambrell, Langford, and Lance Smith, who's the best offensive lineman, a sophomore right tackle, 285 pounds. Pitch back to Hilliard, and the Huskers swarm him under as Hilliard did well to get to the line of scrimmage, the middle guard. Jeff Merrill made the knockdown along with the inside backer number 35, Steve Damkroger. The defensive front, Bill Weber, Toby Williams, Tranmer, Doug Herman, and Felici, although it is Jeff Merrill starting for Tranmer in the middle. Damkroger and Brent Evans, the starting linebackers. They use 4 inside. They alternate them. At the corners, Lyday and Murphy. The safeties, Van Norman and Brett Clark. Gain of a yard on the last carry by Hilliard, so it's 3rd and 6. Risher has a problem eluding the Nebraska rush. The Huskers, led by Toby Williams and Jeff Merrill, make the knockdown. And so Turner Gill is set to bring out the Nebraska offense as LSU is unable to move the chain markers with their first 3 downs.
Don, I think in the first 3 downs, LSU wanted to see what sort of defensive employment Nebraska was using. And I think they have got some figure on it. Now they have to get the ball back.
Irving Fryer is back for Parker's punt. Ball angled to the sideline, hops in, and now takes the bounce the wrong way for LSU. So the Tigers down at the 48-yard line of Nebraska. And the Huskers' first position is one in very good field position. They'll be going on offense in a moment. Right now, we're going to take a break in the action with no score on the board in the opening moments of the 49th Orange Bowl. Don Criqui with John Brody back at the 1983 Orange Bowl, and now the Nebraska offense is on the field. Highest scoring unit in college football with Turner Gill, a junior quarterback from Fort Worth, calling signals. Wilkening, the blocking fullback. Rozier, the All-American I-back. Irving Fryer is the wingback. He can catch it. He'll get it on end arounds also. A huge, typical Nebraska front line blocks for this group. The receivers, Jamie Williams, the tight end, and Todd Brown is the split end. It's 1st and 10 Nebraska with no score on the board. Play fake. And Turner Gill throws to Irving Fryer, the wingback. He is down the sideline and out of bounds inside the 15-yard line of LSU. So Nebraska, the running team with almost 400 yards a game moving the ball on the ground, comes out with the pass and hits big early.
Well, you know, LSU would love to see them run the ball. Nebraska knows that. It looks as if they're the underdog starting the game out. A little play action pass for 26 yards. They hit a man on the dead run. Here's Britt, the secondary man for LSU, not really having any play on it at all. It's 1st and 10, Nebraska on the 30.
Ruling he stepped out of bounds at the 29-yard line. So there with Remington snapping the ball. Turner Gill runs wide, cuts upfield, and Turner Gill's inside the 25-yard line. A gain of about 6 yards on the carry. As we look at the young and very aggressive, hard-hitting LSU defense. Bill Elko, one end. Ramsey Dardar, the nose tackle. He might be the best. Leonard Marshall, the other end. Linebackers, Joyner, Richardson, Williams, and Melsonon.
I get the feeling Dardar better be the best.
He's got something pretty good on his nose there in Dave Remington. James Britton, Eugene Daniel, the corners for the Tigers. Jeffrey Dale and Lifford Hopley are the safeties. Pitch back. Running with the ball is the tailback, Mike Rozier. On 2nd down and 4, he advances the ball down close to the 22-yard line of LSU. As Tom Osborne, always under control, a former teammate briefly of yours, John, out of San Francisco.
That's right. Tom knows right now with 3rd down and 2, he's got a football team with 4 offensive linemen that can generally push the defensive line back far enough so that they can make 2 yards in one play 90% of the time. Look for them to go to the right. Very few times have they been stopped.
Nebraska. Here is Gill rolling out, keeps it himself, looks for the trail man, and Turner Gill is inside the 10-yard line. He has the first down. The coach of LSU, Jerry Stovall, says the first series on defense can set the pace for a whole ball game for a defense. A defense has to show who's boss, and you have to do it early, and right now Nebraska is.
Well, Don, we mentioned they're 214-78 against opponents as LSU, but they didn't play Nebraska every week. These fellas are so awesome. The Turner Gill has the explosiveness to go down the line. He loves to turn the ball up on an option play, even prefers to throwing it. He's an all-purpose quarterback, perfect type for Nebraska.
And right now on 1st and goal, Gill keeps it himself and fights his way down to the 6-yard line, where he was knocked down on the play by inside linebacker Lawrence Williams. Turner Gill, an interesting comeback story. A year ago, he had a nerve problem in his lower right leg. He thought that he might never play football again, but it regenerated. He came back to have a great year. Turner Gill hit 54% of his passes. He ran for over 500 yards, almost 600, averaging 5 yards a rush.
He could play in any formation, I think, at any university and be an outstanding quarterback.
And he's got a quick arm. He can throw the fastball into the end zone. He has Todd Brown wide right now. They go to the power run and right up the middle. Taking the ball down close to the goal line is Shalene, a 5'9", 245-pound fullback. Mark Shalene goes in with the first touchdown of the game, and the Huskers are on the board. Shalene's first play of the game results in 6 points.
I'll tell you, they moved people out of the middle. That's the part where Dardar had to do a big job. Shalene had no problem making the 4.5 yards. I think I might have been able to behind the block of Remington.
So Nebraska shows that #1 offense. And now Seibel tries the point after. He's got it up and no good. And we'll watch the great lineman for Nebraska, Dave Remington, lead the blocking for the touchdown run.
Just a little indication of why this man has been awarded 2 Outlet trophies. When he gets to you as fast as he does, he just creates a lot of space for his guards generally to pull, effectively block. The fullback ran it right in for a touchdown. 7-0 first quarter.
Remington caving in that side of the LSU front. Didn't take long for the Cornhuskers as they go 51 yards in 6 plays. Junior fullback Mark Shalene on the payoff end of a short run. And it's 7-0 Nebraska. Now Kevin Seibel set the kickoff again for the Huskers.
And made it look very easy now.
They really did. Again, to return once more, Eric Martin and Herman Fontenot back for the Tigers. Again, Seibel kicks it high. Fontenot takes it at the 3. Herman Fontenot is across the 30 and not done till he gets out to the 37-yard line. Seibel, the kickoff man, knocked him out of bounds.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Datsun, who invites you to test drive the exciting new Nissan Pulsar NX at your Datsun dealers. By Eastern Airlines, America's favorite way to fly. By the United States Armed Forces, it's a great place to start. And by Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of the day. Welcome to Miller time.
Now LSU unable to move the ball. Its first possession goes 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. Alan Risher takes a look. Got to run now. throws, and his tight end Malcolm Scott can't hold on to the ball. Mark Shaleen, a blockbuster fullback, 5'9", 245 pounds, went in for one play and right into the end zone.
Like Don Nottingham, you remember from Miami, inside the 10-yard line, he was like a bowling ball. When you're 5'9", 245, you know they're going to use you in short yardage if you can carry the ball.
And carry it he did behind that great offensive blocking front keyed by Remington. And so with Nebraska in the lead 7-0, Alan Risher has his LSU Tigers 2nd and 10 at their 37. Good throw. He's got his tight end, and Malcolm Scott's ahead for the LSU first down. Dan Kroger, one of the linebackers, knocked him down.
Malcolm Scott has a lot of potential to be a professional tight end. 6'5", 240 pounds. He's an excellent pass receiver. Gets off the line easily. Remember, they like to throw to the outside, but when they don't, and Nebraska has taken the outsides away, they can hit their tight end, and they do often.
Alan Risher, the quarterback, is the record setter at LSU. Broke Burt Jones' passing records there. 1st and 10. Here's an open man over the middle, and it's again Malcolm Scott, who's all the way down to toss up the ball at the 30. Malcolm Scott gets down to the 30, and LSU comes up with the ball. So there's a gain on the play of over 20 yards for LSU.
This time, he had a man hustling downfield to help him out. When your team's on the hustle and Malcolm Scott makes a fine play, Risher picks the right man to throw it to. You've got a chance to win a ball game when you've got a guy hustling like he is right down there in the secondary. I have not been able to find the number on the back of his jersey, but he kept the drive alive. Looks like 21. Go.
1st and 10 LSU from the 29-yard line. Ooh, we got a man leaving early on the top. Eric Martin, the wide receiver, left his snap pad early. Coach Tom Osborne, who succeeded a legend and has carried on the great program at Nebraska with consistently outstanding teams. 10 years at Nebraska as a head man and 10 years in the Bulls. And they say that next year the Huskers under Osborne are going to be an awesome force again. The whole offensive backfield comes back. Motion early. Now a instant pre-play we talked about earlier. We're going to take a look at Eric Martin, the wide receiver. That's who the instant play will be on. When we come back after the play, we'll look at Martin, regardless of where he goes and how he affects the play. It's 1st down and 15. The throw could be to him as Alan Risher, a 64% passer, takes a look and gets the ball up. It's Hilliard taking the ball, and the little freshman back is ahead for a first down.
Don, it's not every time that you happen to be in the middle as a receiver that you help your squad. This time they would love to go to Eric Martin. He's down in if they play him from the inside out, you see Burt making excellent defensive coverage, but now the man in the front, the halfback, catches the ball on an option pass. He comes back, makes a big block, creates the first down, so it is an 11-man game. Lots of times on our isolates, we don't get the guy most responsible for the big play, and I think we might capture some of that tonight.
Very interesting. So a player away from the ball, and the play turns out to be the man who sprung. Dalton Hilliard for the first down gain after the reception. Now, the Tigers of LSU go to the run. The fullback, Mike Muntz, takes it up the middle, but there's not a whole lot there against a huge Nebraska defense, keyed by number 97, the left tackle, Toby Williams. From Washington, D.C., a 6'3", 260-pound lineman.
Defensively, I think Nebraska is doing the right thing in the secondary early. They're taking away the wide receivers. They're making Risher make the decision to go inside to his tight end. He's done so to Malcolm Scott on 2 occasions, keeping drives alive. He's got to continue. They're not giving him anything.
Junius Doral goes in motion. Risher on 2nd and 9 takes a look. He's got to hurry, and then the sack comes in hard from behind Scott Strasburger, who is in at one of the defensive ends coming on a blitz. Really, the Nebraska defensive ends are stand-up ends, more like linebackers. They're not big as defensive ends go, but they're very quick, as we saw illustrated there.
Well, the defensive end position in college is actually a linebacker. You have to be both good at rushing the passer and defending the pass. And on this occasion, the defense for Nebraska in the secondary made it possible for the line to get the sack. They just had the receivers covered, and they've had them covered from the outset.
Nebraska coach Tom Osborne said of LSU, they're a young team, have had their ups and downs, but they have been at their best in the big games, and certainly they're in one now. Alan Risher throws, and the penalty marker goes down. On a 3rd down and 14 play after the sack A penalty marker is down downfield, and there's one down in the LSU backfield. Got it both ways, so we'll do it over again.
Don, I'm not sure, but I think the ball hit the official. And when, you know, it's tough enough back there when they're covering all your people. Yes, it did. Man standing right behind the defensive line, couldn't get out of the way in time, and I think he stopped the completion. But because there was holding on both sides of the line of scrimmage, the play would have gone over anyway.
So it will again be
kind of tough when you're standing there and have nowhere to go.
Offsetting penalties. The play is done over again. 3rd down and 14 for LSU. LSU trailing 7-0 first quarter. From the Nebraska 19. Alan Risher. Oh, it is almost picked off. He was going to Eric Martin, but Alan Lyde, a senior cornerback from Wichita, Kansas, had a hand on the ball and a clear track had he gotten it.
Well, it's a beautiful play by Alan Lyde. We've heard what a good defensive back he is. He's still in a blitz situation that puts him one-on-one with Eric Martin, who we all know is an excellent receiver. He was a running back last year. Mac Brown, the offensive coordinator, turned him into a wide receiver. He's a natural. He should be a high professional pick. But Lyde beat him on that play.
I know one thing, he can stuff the ball with his mouth. He's got a 40-inch vertical leap, Alan Lyde, and he got up to knock that one down. Now, Betanzos, the field goal kicker for LSU, puts it up and through, and the Tigers from Baton Rouge are on the board, or are they? There's a penalty marker down. It's going to be a roughing the kicker call, so the field goal is good.
Well, wait a minute. Does that mean the field goal is good, or does that mean he roughed him after and he doesn't have the option to take a penalty and get a first down?
We're going to find that out right now as the LSU team has 3 points on the board.
I would think it's a first down, and I know Stovall's making a question of it at this time. And it does depend if it was in the act of the play or if it was after the play and he was running around after there'd been a change of possession. I don't think there had been.
Yep, the defensive unit is going back out on a personal foul call against Nebraska. The points come off the board. The ball is advanced inside the 10-yard line.
Okay, what do you say? Big breaks that happen early to a football team sometimes win ball games for them, but other times they keep a team in a game. We mentioned at the outset that LSU is going to have a little trouble when you talk about personnel standing up to Nebraska. They may have the best personnel in this game for the last 5 or 6 years, but they have excellent players at LSU. If they stay close and they are healthy, they do have a shot at winning.
They take the points off to the LSU Tigers, and they'll go 1st and goal from the Nebraska 9. Pitch back to Hilliard, and good defense by the Huskers. Coming up to make the play was Bill Weber, number 87. And Toby Williams was also on the play. And so Nebraska knocks down LSU for a loss of 3.
Yeah, but you were so right, because Bill Weber was responsible for making the play happen. Toby Williams actually made the tackle, but it was a fine play by Weber to force it.
Instant free play this time. Mike Muntz will be watching, the good blocking fullback. 2nd and goal from the 13. Free ball, and Toby Williams intercepts for Nebraska. So the age-old adage, everybody has 20/20 hindsight, but not taking points off the board. LSU did, and they don't get any now. It's going back over to the Huskers.
Well, I think it was an excellent choice to trying to get 7 when you get down there. You always figure you can get 3. But Allen actually threw a bad ball. He threw it into the defensive lineman. When you throw the ball that low, you're going to have a problem. And here's the instant pre-play. Mike Muntz coming out to try and help Risher, but in doing so, usually when you find a free man blocking on the right side, there's somebody free coming in on the left. It happened on that occasion, and Risher would like to have the play over.
We'll be back right after this. The Goodyear Blimp Enterprise from nearby Pompano Beach, Florida. The pilot is Captain Mike Fitzpatrick from Newport, Rhode Island. The Enterprise is named after the winner of the America's Cup yacht race, as are all the Goodyear blimps. A warm night with temperatures in the 70s. It's humid. A Balmy breeze blowing in off the nearby Atlantic as the Cornhuskers of Nebraska, coming in with an 11-1 record and a 9-game win streak, lead this game 7-0 over LSU. Huskers went 51 yards in 6 plays their first possession. Now Rozier, their All-American I-back, loses the ball, and LSU comes up with it. So the swarming, attacking defense of the Tigers comes up with a football, and LSU forces the first turnover of the game.
We mentioned that Ramsey Darter is an all-SEC nose tackle. You have to have one when you're playing against Dave Remington to give your defensive line a chance. You notice he's real quick getting off on the ball, maybe a little too quick, but he does create congestion. He keeps the guards from getting into the play. When you do that, you get a whole mishmash in there. He created a fumble. They got a big turnover.
A very big one, and now the Tigers back on offense, 1st and 10 at the Nebraska 11. Dalton Hilliard. Not going to give it up. Dalton Hilliard puts 2 arms around the football and takes it inside the 5-yard line. The young freshman from Louisiana who scored 16 touchdowns this year, a freshman record in NCAA annals for most TDs by a first-year player.
First time they've really run well, and they ran to the left, which is not their specialty, because Barry, number 79, the left tackle, is a good pass blocker. Turner's a pretty good guard, but they generally run to the right where they're very strong.
LSU mixes the run and pass. They score equally both ways, and now Hilliard has a problem as the Huskers come a-storming. Steve Dem Kroger, number 35. The Dem Kroger name, a legendary one in Nebraska football. His brother and his father played for the Huskers. Steve Dem Kroger is the #1 all-time tackler for Nebraska.
Mac Brown, the offensive coordinator for LSU, mentioned, he said, if you get inside tackle to tackle and you let either one of those Steves, Dan Croder or McWhirter, get a piece of your back, you're liable to have to make a substitution.
They get some big inside linebackers, and they use 4. They'll alternate them. Now it's 3rd down and 4. First back throw is the fullback Muntz. And he takes it ahead and gets down very close to a first down. Looks like Johnny could be just short of it. Man who has not thrown for a loss all season long, Mike Muntz.
That is close. Mike Muntz. Here's a real, on every team there's a guy that the players look up to, gives 100% on every play. He actually led LSU in average per carry this year with 5.8 yards. He's just an all-purpose type back. We had one in professional football in San Francisco. I know they remember him in the South also, and Ken Willard. He's the kind of guy you just love to have in your huddle if you're a quarterback.
Muntz was quite a story, John, just playing football this year. Mike Muntz came off very serious knee surgery that they thought ended his career, but he's back and had a great senior season, a team leader. As you pointed out, now it's going to be 4th down and inches for LSU, and of course the Tigers, you'll recall their last possession, put up a good field goal from way out by Betanzos, and then on a personal foul call against Nebraska, took the points off the board and went 1st and 10. But they couldn't get it in. They were intercepted. Now they get it back on a turnover. And here, running with the ball, is the quarterback, Alan Risher.
Boy, they put a lot of responsibility on Risher. He makes such good decisions, and he's made them all year long. You see up at the line, it's his job to find the crack. There is none to the left. He gets down low enough to get under the defensive lineman. When he does so, he picks up a foot. That's all they needed for a first down. The man's been doing it in critical situations for him all year, and that certainly was one of them.
So now LSU trailing in the game, 7-0 to Nebraska with 5:15 in the clock running in the first quarter. Goes point-blank range, 1st and goal from the Husker 1-yard line. Hilliard is the tailback. He gets the pitch back. Dalton Hilliard weaves his way down to the goal line, but not in. Dem Kroger, 35 on the stop again for Nebraska.
Not in, but it doesn't take you long to see what makes the great ones great. Now, Dalton Hilliard was a big surprise. They knew he'd be a fine athlete, but they couldn't conceive that he'd come on as fast as he did. The way he sidestepped the force man, came up, tried to get the ball. That's a tough thing to do. Get the ball up and touch the goal line with it. That's something. He made 16 throughout the year.
16 going for 17 here, perhaps, as they again pitch back to Hilliard. Dalton Hilliard goes in, but there is a penalty marker down. Dalton Hilliard goes in, and Alan Risher thinks it's going to go against Nebraska, and the points will go on the board. It is against Nebraska, an offside signal by the referee. Dixon Holman, and so with the extra point attempt coming up, LSU can tie the game.
All right, Mike Bunce, we mentioned how important he is to their offense. He has to lead the play on most every offensive run. He does lead Hilliard on this particular occasion. He makes a good block at the point of attack. Well, now he really just allowed him to make it.
And so after the fumble recovery by LSU, the Tigers go 11 yards in 6 plays. Dalton Hilliard on the scoring end, and here's the extra point attempt. Betanzos hits it up and good, and LSU has tied Nebraska at 7-all. 4 minutes and 24 seconds left to go in the first quarter. And we'll watch again as LSU scores its first points of the night.
Very tough play to execute, in my opinion, but they must feel they can't make any yards up the middle. When you're throwing the ball around on the 1-foot line, the man's catching the ball on the dead run, has to work this hard to get 6 inches. You know it's tough sledding down there.
And they had enough to take it in. Smiling Dalton Hilliard, the freshman running back from Patterson, Louisiana, who just took it in from in close, and LSU with the subsequent extra point has tied Nebraska 7-all. The pride of 2 great states, Nebraska and Louisiana, on the line with these matchups tonight. The Big Red from Lincoln and the Tigers from Baton Rouge. The 49th Orange Bowl. Don Criqui with John Brody. And now Juan Betanzos is set to kick off for the first time for LSU. Hits it downfield. Irving Fryer, he's a threat, takes it at the 12. Over the top and a wave. The Nebraska blockers carries him out to the 30, 18-yard return. Leonard Marshall, they call Big Leonard at right in martial law.
And Don, I think it's illustrative of some of the players that have played for LSU who haven't been in national exposure over the past year. Their coaches feel he is the best defensive lineman in the country. Now, when your coaches say that, I'm not saying he's better than the man he's playing, because the man he's playing made All-American in Randy Thies, but we're going to get a chance to see just how good both of them are.
How good Mike Rozier is, the single-season rushing leader in Nebraska football history. A 7-yard rush average, over 1,700 yards for Rozier, a junior I-back out of Mount Holly, New Jersey. Now we'll watch Leonard Marshall.
Well, number 97. He's playing number 65, but number 65 pulled on this particular play. Pretty good seam block, cut him off from the point of attack. They picked up 5 yards, and that's how you do it.
Leonard Marshall, a big man at 285, going against an excellent tackle in Randy Tice, a third-team All-American for the Huskers. Second down and 4 now for Nebraska. Turner Gill with a live arm throws a strike on the run. He hits his wide receiver Todd Brown. There was a walk-on out of Howe Ridge, Nebraska. And there is a first down gain for Nebraska.
Turner makes it so tough, Don, on your defense, because he can move both right and left equally well. He can run the ball up the field, and when he does, he's a weapon doing that. He doesn't do it just to kind of get out of something bad. He plays from sideline to sideline. He's got fine receivers. He doesn't throw a lot, but very effectively. Very effectively.
He throws the fastball. Very quick arm. First and 10 Huskers. Gill looking, pitches back. Here's Rozier. And on a first down carry, the LSU Tigers are there. Inside linebacker Lawrence Williams, number 34, Lake Charles, Louisiana, was there to make the stop. LSU doesn't give up much to the rush. They allow the opposition only 2.5 yards.
We saw Nebraska move the ball easily the first time they got the ball. They had a little bit of trouble because they fumbled on the second possession. But if they're going to stop Nebraska, 34 and 51 are going to have to play real well. They're the linebackers. They're the ones designed to stop the great play of Rozier.
Richardson and Williams, the linebackers. Here is a swing pass to Rozier, and he puts his head down, and Rozier gets ahead and got first down yardage. All-American effort by Mike Rozier, who's really a combination of a power runner and a cutback runner. He's got a lot of thrust at 210 pounds, and there's another penalty marker down.
Irrelevant of the penalty, Don, if there is one. I think this individual effort by Rozier expresses, you know, there were 2 players that were picked ahead of him consensus-wise. Both of them absolutely great, as is Rozier. Who knows who's going to be the best? Walker, one from Georgia. The other one happened to be Dickerson at SMU. That's a pretty good league he's in.
And he comes back next year after rushing for 1,721 yards this year and 17 touchdowns, Mike Rozier. Face mask call against LSU, and the ball now is set at the 37-yard line of the Tigers. First and 10, Nebraska. Game is tied 7-all with 2 minutes and 25 seconds to play in the first quarter, and the clock is running. Very warm in Miami. Good exacted price as the game wears on. LSU likes it hot. We have an early departure on the right side. Jeff Wapping, right tackle. A snap down early. They make it first and 15. The pre-play tonight on NBC, a little bit interesting twist, giving you a number of the isolated replays that the isolated camera's focusing on before the play.
And Don, when you talk about a Turner Gill, usually you say, hey, we see what the quarterback does. We don't have to have a pre-play on it. But a lot of times he does things after he hands the ball off, after he throws the ball. And there may be something interesting to observe.
Gill has hit all 3 of his passes for 47 yards, and now as he comes out to set his team with first and 15, the official steps in.
Gave a 6-yard penalty.
He did.
That's right.
Greg Dubrock now in the game, replacing Tim Joyner, an excellent outside linebacker who injured an ankle 2 days ago in practice. Gill throws, and up in the air for the ball is Todd Brown. Well short of the first down. He has it inside the LSU 35-yard line down to the 33.
You don't see many quarterbacks who can throw the ball to the left with a rollout the way he does. Looks like he's executing a double play as a shortstop. When you can do that with a football, just another day at the plant as far as he's concerned. He'll probably hit 88 out of 100 when he's got a man open on that sort of angle.
He was greeted there by Jim Britt, number 11, an All-American cornerback for LSU. Turner Gill, all 4 of his passes completed now. Tie game 7-7 first quarter. Roger Craig runs the ball on second down and 7, gets to the 31. Jeffrey Dale, the strong safety, the rover back, number 27, came up to make the pop for the LSU Tigers. Despite the rain and the flooding in Louisiana and the heavy snow in Nebraska, the Orange Bowl is filled as the LSU fans, over 15,000 strong, have arrived, and the Cornhusker backers are here too by the thousands. Some 9,000 have come from Lincoln. You see that LSU's defensive ranking is very impressive. The Nebraska defensive coordinator, Mike McBride, says that one of the keys to good defense isn't the amount of yards you allow, it's the amount of points, and Nebraska's 3rd in points allowed. Irving Fryer, the wingback, who will catch it and will run it from scrimmage as he did there, gets ahead for a first down.
I agree with the defensive coordinator for Nebraska, but I will say, Don, that it helps to coach defense when you have an offensive array such as Nebraska does. When they keep the ball away from the other team's offense, like Nebraska's been able to do consistently all year long with runs of this type, you see, you get it back in a situation. This time it was Irving Fryer, who's been a class running back, also a class receiver all year long. He can do something.
He's averaged over 12 yards a carry when he's run that play as he just did for the first down to the 23-yard line.
Whoops.
Free ball and a penalty marker. Those Tigers go after those loose balls like big dogs in a pork chop.
Well, they're getting a few loose ones too.
There'll be some more. These guys are hit. Eric Kiddock is now in the game, replacing Bill Elko, a defensive end for LSU. And we're going to have a penalty call against Nebraska with 41 seconds to play in the first quarter. Nebraska, as we pointed out, and as you're no doubt aware, is the #1 offensive team in America, over 500 yards a game. It's a club with 8 first-team All-Big 8 players. Keyed around a great center in Dave Remington, who's won 2 Outland trophies, the Lombardi Award last year as a junior center. He was voted the Offensive Player of the Year in the Big 8, an offensive center. They usually don't get one of those.
Well, I think it's plain the reason he was.
We're going to come back and look at the defensive secondary of the LSU Tigers on a first down and 15 play for Nebraska. Turner Gill will be throwing into that secondary. And he hits his man again, Todd Brown, who's not big but has the great hands, goes up and takes it away from an LSU defender.
You don't have to be big if you can jump and catch the ball the way he did in crucial situations. It's a rollout. Gill rolls out, so he gets a little better angle to the wide receiver who's at the top of your screen. He's actually got a lineman or a linebacker trying to get into the hole, running toward the receiver, and it looked as if it would be a difficult throw. He threw the ball high. That's why he did so. Todd Brown came down with it, and that was a heck of a throw and a heck of a catch.
He's not thrown an interception now, Turner Gill, his last 78 throws, and he's hit every one he's put up tonight as the first quarter ends. It is Nebraska 7 and LSU 7. We'll be back at the 49th Orange Bowl after this. Back at the 49th Orange Bowl, Don Criqui with John Brody. It's tied 7-7. Nebraska quarterback Turner Gill-John's throwing the ball, I think, a little more than LSU expected.
Well, I think they expected him to throw the ball, and what they've done is they've forced him to throw a little more than I thought he might have to, because they played pretty good defense in the interior line. But he is the sort of fellow that can beat you at whatever you give him. And they haven't given him much, but he's taken advantage of what is there.
Well, he's hit everything he's thrown, 5 for 5. Now he goes to the run. And LSU was waiting for it. They think they had the ball.
I think the officials agree.
It's for sure that Rydell Melanson has it in his hands.
Well,
but they might rule that he got it after the play was whistled dead. Big Mike Mandelko. We need a call here. All right, we got a call. And now Nebraska gives it away a second time on a fumble. You recall the Huskers intercepted LSU down close to stop one scoring threat. But now Nebraska on a second fumble gives it back to LSU, and it looked like the Huskers were ready to run it in early in the second quarter.
Well, you can't turn the ball over when you're moving it effectively like they have done and get into the lead. They're fortunate to be tied. It's 7-7. I think the game has picked up in intensity since the first series of play, to a point where you think it was the second half.
It is a very intense game. That's not unexpected. To the run, and with the marker coming in, running with the ball is Dalton Hilliard from Patterson, Louisiana. See the signal there that Jeff Merrill thinks it's a hold against LSU, which is agreed on by the official, and so the Tigers will be set back now. Tom Osborne's teams, you see the winning percentage over 79%. Not many that replace a legend, and Devaney was one of those with back-to-back national championship teams at Nebraska. Osborne, one of his assistants, moved up. An in-control individual and coach. He's got a doctorate in educational psychology.
Tom is, you know, and the funny thing is, Tom is not an academic type. He's an athlete. He always has been one. He's a very responsible person, basically, and he wanted to be in a position to know as much as he could about what it was he was responsible for. I think he's done that, and I think he's doing a fine job. When you have a team that other people respect as being the best group in college, personnel-wise, somebody had to go out and recruit that bunch. He's done that.
The Huskers always have troops among the very best, year after year after year. We're at the 49th Orange Bowl game. Don Criqui with John Brody. A warm night in Miami, Florida. An interesting football game. Turnovers have keyed play early. It's a 7-7 tie as Nebraska keys in on the run, and Tony Felici comes up to fill and make the stop on LSU on a first down and 20 carry. On the pre-play, we're going to be looking at the defensive secondary of the Cornhuskers. Not a well-known unit like the Nebraska offense.
And I think it should be interesting to those at home to, when we do see show the pre-play, look at the outside perimeter. They're very stingy to the outside.
And they play way off the line of scrimmage. Here is a man downfield going for the ball on Eric Martin, but Risher overthrows him. Nebraska had its deep backs playing way out in center field.
Well, you know, we say he overthrew him because it wasn't there. We mentioned to the outside, the perimeters are covered. They're playing a double zone, a simple little double zone. We see the man that they go to whenever they have a chance, Eric Martin. He goes to the inside, but he's actually covered with anything but a perfect pass. And that's good secondary coverage.
So it brings up third and long yardage for LSU. Alan Risher, a 64% passer, hit 3 of 7 in this game for 51 yards. 7-7 tie early in the second quarter. Risher pump faking. Now he's got to run, and he can do that too. And like a smart quarterback, bails out. Before they get to him, Dave Ritter chases him out of bounds, but Alan Risher gains 7 yards.
You know, they're not playing Humpty Dumpty. Alan Risher broke all the records at LSU, and he's been an outstanding talent throughout the whole 3 years of his career. He's broken the touchdown record. He hasn't had anywhere to throw the ball. They've got 2 people out on his primary receiver to the right. He can't look back here to Eric Barton, 41, waving his hand. He's got 2 guys chasing him. Great coverage by the secondary.
And here's another of the barefoot punters, Clay Parker, whose real forte is placing the ball at the other end. This time he unloads with a lot of field to cover and drives the return man Fryer back to his 31. Free ball. LSU has it.
My goodness.
3 turnovers for the Huskers. Shades of Oklahoma in this afternoon's Fiesta Bowl, which we hope you saw here on NBC, as Oklahoma had great offense, but Arizona State kept coming with the ball about 7 times.
Let's just see if Nebraska's defense can play as well this time after they've been out there for a few minutes as they have here before. I mean, they've been outstanding. This is the 3rd turnover. There's still only 7 points. Only 1 drive for LSU. And sometimes you have to rely on the defense. This is one of those. Fryer, nobody hits him. He just tries to shift it from left to right arm, drops it.
Just plain dropped it, and so now LSU gets what they call a plus turnover on the opponent's side of the field. Whoa, very close to a big strike. Hilliard coming out of the backfield, going downfield, and Alan Risher's ball eludes him, so it's going to be 2nd down and 10 now for LSU at the 45-yard line.
We're taking a look at Risher, and the one thing he hasn't done is panic and push. He hasn't had much to throw to. He hasn't had many places to go. He's taken what he's been given, and he hasn't been given very much. Remember, he was ranked 2nd in the nation behind Tom Ramsey, the fellow that UCLA used today to win the Rose Bowl. So his opportunity may come, but he won't push it. Now he calls timeout rather because he's confused. They've confused him defensively, and until they get on the ball, they just better play it safe.
So Alan Risher comes to the sideline for some counts, and we'll be back to the Orange Bowl right after this. The NFL coming down to the wire tomorrow in regular season play as the Goodyear Blimp high above the Orange Bowl in Miami, where LSU and Nebraska are tied 7-7 with 13-17 to play in the 2nd quarter. Nebraska came out fast, went 51 yards on its first possession and 6 plays for a go-ahead touchdown. LSU has been beneficiaries, though, of 3 Nebraska turnovers. It's all tied up. Here is Risher throwing, and Dalton Hilliard has the ball.
Oh!
He's down to the 21-yard line, where Dave Burke knocked him down.
Don, we mentioned patience. Risher has had a lot of patience. He hasn't made many big plays, but he's patient. They've got a good pass rush, but he's hanging in there. Waits till the last possible moment, throws the ball the only place he can, and he finally gets Hilliard. Hilliard gets the ball in between linebackers, comes up with a big play, and puts him in scoring position again.
Hilliard's not big, 5'7", but one of his tackles, Clint Berry, says it's okay because we open holes that are wide, not high. Dalton Hilliard can go through, and here he goes. The latest in a line of great runners for LSU. Dalton Hilliard is knocked down by a hard-hitting sophomore linebacker, Mike Knox, for Nebraska. Give him the benefit of the doubt with that 5'10". He hasn't gotten there yet.
He doesn't care much either. Steve Damkroger. Here's a linebacker that could very possibly be drafted as a middle linebacker in the pros. He's a very big fella, pretty good movement, but very strong.
Risher throws. Oh, his receiver, Eric Martin, cutting in, fell down, and the Tigers were lucky that Nebraska didn't pick it off.
Well, yes, and I think there was a little miscommunication there, and actually Martin and Risher haven't been lucky yet, but Steve Damkroger, we watched. This is what a linebacker has to do. He tries to take away the routes he's responsible for. You generally see a linebacker moving deeper into the secondary, but he's responsible for taking those backs and making sure they don't catch any quick ones, because they just did and got into that position.
Big down now for LSU, as you see, 3rd and 7 at the Nebraska 18. Tie game 7-7. Strike. Hilliard. He's ahead for a first down and very nearly broke at the distance. Alan Lyday saves a touchdown, a 14-yard gain.
I'm impressed. You don't see many college teams that are this well structured. You see Hilliard running underneath 2 wide receivers. They're in a trips formation. They forced Nebraska into a one-on-one coverage. Risher waited to the last possible second, got Hilliard the ball, and they're down to the 3.
First and goal, LSU looking to take the lead. They go back to the money to Hilliard, and he's down to the 1. That play was dead. At the 1. Ken Graver in at middle guard was the man who got him, but Hilliard was flying on that play. He was going over the top.
I know they discussed the fact that they made wide ones, but they're going to have to make them pretty wide over a very difficult man to make them if they're going to try 35 Steve Dancroger. You see Mike Muntz trying to clear away for him. Dancroger's having none of it, forced the play to go up over the top, and that was not the easy way to roll.
LSU with a lot of confidence in a freshman back. Giving him the ball against a defense that can knock it away, and Hilliard keeps getting yards. Second down and goal from the 1. Hilliard, look at that stick by Nebraska. Well done by Dancroger.
Telling you, inside is not the place to run. I know they're very good defensively in the defensive linemen, but linebackers are the men who keep you from going over the top and seeping through the cracks down there by the goal line. 35 did it again. They've made 2 yards in 2 plays. That's tough sledding.
Actually lost a little bit on that one, so now the LSU Tigers come out. Third and goal from just outside the 1-yard line. Right back to Hilliard. He's close. Is he in? No signal yet. Coach Stovall waiting for the news. Didn't get there.
He's saying, okay, let's have a go at it. I think it's a great decision. I think he knows who he's playing. But don't take a lead 10-7 because Nebraska's going to make more points than 7. Okay, they've had things going against them right now. But if they don't score a touchdown, they haven't taken advantage of what they've come up with. And it's very tough sled, but they've got to get 7 for LSU to get an advantage.
Well, on first and goal, they've gone to Hilliard. Now they go to 4th and goal. And let's see if the freshman back gets called on again. Alan Risher's going to go for another timeout. So with 9:35 left to play in the first half and the game tied 7-7, Stovall will talk to his quarterback, Alan Risher, and we'll be back at the Orange Bowl right after this. At the 1983 Orange Bowl in Miami, an exciting game as LSU and Nebraska are locked up 7-7. A freshman tailback for LSU. Dalton Hilliard, the I-back, the man they call the Eye of the Tiger, has run the ball 3 times from in close, and Nebraska's turned him back every time. And now, with the game locked up at 7 in the second quarter, LSU's going for the touchdown. 4th down and goal from a yard away.
They've got a great right tackle. You look for him to go there.
Again, it's Hilliard. Touchdown, LSU.
Don, I mentioned that I'm thinking to the right. They've run to the right all year. Evidently, Nebraska was thinking the same way because there was nobody containing from the left side of LSU. So he got a little pitch to Hilliard. He runs it in to take the lead for the first time today at 13-7. They have capitalized on the 3 breaks they've been given.
And so LSU now comes back with 14 straight points after going behind by 7 at the outset, and the underdog Tigers from Baton Rouge have opened up a 14-7 lead. The Huskers will have it from the kickoff when we come back with 9:32 to play in the first half. 45 yards in 9 plays. The closing yards came with great difficulty, and Hilliard got the call 4 straight times in close, and finally the freshman from Patterson, Louisiana, breaks the tie, and LSU takes a 14-7 lead.
And we're going to take a look at Sean Burks, a freshman from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He's on the kickoff team. He's one of those fellas that's all LSU. He's a freshman. He's got 3 more years after tonight. You know he loves getting started in the Orange Bowl, but he's a real comer. He's been on their special teams all year. He's a hitter. They've always got a few of them on every kickoff team.
Sean Burks is the man, and two very dangerous people back for the Huskers, Irving Fryer and Jeff Smith. This is one of the sky kickoffs. It's short, but a lot of them have fumbled, and up back takes it Wilkening. And Wilkening runs the ball ahead for Nebraska out across the 42-yard line. That's actually a planned kickoff that Betanzos does for LSU. Almost a wedge shot, hits it very high, not short, not long, but it's sometimes difficult for the upbacks to field. There have been a lot of fumbles on it.
Don, I'll tell you what, the enthusiasm of a freshman is great. Sometimes he overruns his lane, as he did this time, and actually the ball was run up to the 41-yard line because he didn't get a good position and see the ball.
So Burks comes down to charging, but Nebraska gets good field position at the 41-yard line. Roger Craig runs the ball. And he's to the 44-yard line. Here at the Orange Bowl, we have 9 minutes and 15 seconds to play in the first half. Don Criqui with John Brody. Nebraska jumping out to a 7-0 lead. Then LSU getting 3 fumble recoveries from the Cornhuskers. Comes back to score 14 straight points. And at this point, LSU, almost a 2-touchdown underdog, is leading the game 14-7. A warm night in Miami. Just like they like it in Baton Rouge. The Huskers have been here for over a week, though. Well conditioned, of course, well attuned to the Orange Bowl. They were here last year. Irving Fryer, the wingback, comes on a 2nd and 7 play and gets the ball out to the 48-yard line. And LSU's claiming they got it again.
I tell you, the going is tough right now, Don. And Nebraska is accustomed to moving people off the line of scrimmage with their center and their 2 guards. Now you see Remington, we mentioned the quality of the man, but I tell you, Darter does a pretty good job, you see. And they're shooting the gaps, they're trying to create some penetration to force the running backs outside and let the linebackers make the tackles. And they've done a pretty good job of it.
Well, right now, Nebraska will go 3rd down and 3 from the Huskers 47. Turner Gill, a good running quarterback. On the roll, here's the pitch. What a stick. Incomplete pass, James Britt puts the hit on Irving Fryer. And Nebraska comes up with a 4th and 3. Will have to punt the ball. First incomplete pass for Turner Gill, the Nebraska quarterback.
Well, when you see a play as fast as Britt saw this one, Gill's throwing underneath. Actually, Britt is covering a man who's going to the outside. You expect the cornerback to turn his back on the play. He didn't. He got a good look at the quarterback and a very good look at the receiver.
Grant Campbell is in to punt the ball now for the Huskers. They don't punt often, as you see. You don't have to when you score that many points. Ah, they go on a fake to the upback. They got everybody fake, including us. And now they're going to rule that Wilkening is down short of the 1st down yardage. Blocking back on the punt formation, Doug Wilkening got the snap, but didn't get there.
Remember, they've got to make a measurement here. It's very close, in my opinion. But I tell you what, remember, it's not where the ball hits the ground. The knee hit the ground on this play, and I think they're going to measure right at this moment. It's a fake punt. We were fooled, as was we thought LSU, but they weren't fooled completely.
Very big measurement now as the sticks come out. Baton Rouge in the state of Louisiana salute the LSU defense holding again, and so now the Tigers leading 14-7, set to go on offense once again at midfield, and they will with Alan Richard quarterback right after this word. A very pleasant night in South Florida as the moon shines brightly over Miami and the Orange Bowl, where LSU, one of the top 5 teams in the country this past season at turnover ratio. They get far more than they give up. Has come up with 3 turnovers while the offense has given the ball up just once. And so LSU, with that advantage, has taken a 14-7 lead. Has the ball again after a 4th down gamble by the Huskers. Richard throws in the flat. Malcolm Scott gets ahead and works his way to a 1st down.
If anyone wanted a clinic, all they'd have to do is watch number 75, Lance Smith, play offensive tackle, because when a quarterback can see the receiver as easily as he was able to then, you know your offensive linemen have made great penetration. They're pushing the defensive ends back, keeping their hands out of your face, and letting you complete the pass. Those are the little things that go unnoticed unless you have a guy like that.
Big play. Lance Smith, they say, is going to be the greatest offensive lineman in LSU history. Just a sophomore at 285 pounds. Risher 6 for 12 now for good yardage. He's good at 94 yards with the passes. 1st and 10. The pursuit is coming fast as he throws it away, and wisely on the run. Heading after him was Rob Stuckey.
You know what a good pass rush can do, Don? When you get forced out of the pocket, you then have to take your attention off your wide receivers. And it's so important to get enough time to hang in that pocket, because when your receivers come open, you can't hit them. This time, you see Eric Martin was coming wide open. He saw him roll out. When Risher went to the left, he had to go and try and help him. But it took a sure completion away when the pass rush got to him. And Jeff Merrill's been doing his job in there at nose guard. We've been talking about Ramsey Dardar. Jeff Merrill is an All-American caliber player.
He is, you know, John, Dave Remington, the Nebraska center, I asked him who's the best nose guard he's faced. He says the guy I go against in practice, Jeff Merrill, on his own team. I'm out on the field with 7:15 to play in the first half. LSU, the underdog, leading 14-7, and we'll be back. At the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, Penn State under Coach Paterno opening up a 17-3 lead over Georgia. Penn State with a good defense, a tough club to come from behind on. They've not lost in a long time when they've had a substantial lead in a game.
And they have one just about every week, so.
They got blown out once by Alabama. Nebraska's only loss, separating them for a perfect season, a 3-point loss at Penn State. Right now it's LSU with the ball. 2nd and 10 coming up. Malcolm Scott, the tight end, lost it. Very nearly intercepted by Dan Kroger.
They haven't given LSU very much. You can see the dejected look on Risher's face. You see the wide angle look. They're playing that 2-2 with 3 linebackers underneath. You can call it 5 men underneath and 2 wide. They're not giving anything down deep, so you have to throw it underneath. When you do, the linebackers are reacting well, and there just isn't much.
If you just joined us, the pre-play that you'll be seeing signaled before various plays, indication of what you'll see when the play is over. That's what the isolated camera's keying on, in that case, the Nebraska defense. Now it's 3rd down and 10 for Risher. Here's a bust through on the offensive front. And the pass rush of Nebraska does not get to Risher, but they do force an incomplete pass on a 4th down coming up as Dave Remington and his quarterback Turner Gill getting set to go back to offense. Gill wants to stay right near him.
They still have their shaving lotion on. They can't get the ball. The problem is when they do get it, they can't hold it, and they really haven't established what it is they can do offensively. That's the problem when you don't have the ball much.
They're not used to not having it, Nebraska.
That's right.
Now the punt for Parker, his second. You'll remember his first was a long one, 52 yards. Clay Parker booms one into the end zone for a touchback, and the Cornhuskers will go on offense at their 20 with 6:54 to play in the first half. LSU in the lead, 14-7. We've got a good one going at the 1983 Orange Bowl. The LSU Tigers under Coach Jerry Stovall, a big underdog right now, 14-7 leader over Tom Osborne's Nebraska Cornhuskers, a team that comes in with an 11-1 record and a 9-game win streak since that 3-point loss at Penn State in September. Nebraska going 1st and 10 from the Huskers 20. LSU guys, they do not back off.
We saw a flag go down on the play, and I can see the intensity is rising, Don, but the interior line play is really outstanding. And what the LSU coordinator has done, Pete Jenkins, has put his defensive down linemen in a position where they're just taking off, trying to hit a crack, trying to create a congestion. Now, if that's not a congestion, I've never seen one. They have forced the backs to make a decision early, and a couple of occasions they've caused fumbles, and it's worked very well for them.
2nd and 10, there was no penalty rule. Now Turner Gill takes a drop, guns it over the middle, and he's got a man. His tight end, Jamie Williams, comes down with the ball. He is out to the 43-yard line, and Nebraska gets its first big offensive play in some time, and the Huskers are out to their 43 with a 1st down, again on the play of 21 yards.
What a super throw that was. That is the hardest throw in football. I don't care who's throwing it. When you're throwing the ball over the middle with people running all different directions to hit your tight end on the dead run, it's the best throw you can make.
Nebraska's offense this year, John, has averaged over 260 yards more rushing than its opposition, but they've thrown a lot tonight. And now they go to the run, and the All-American Mike Rozier rolls on out. Rozier, a junior I-back, comes in with a 7-yard per carry average this season, averaging almost 7 for his last 2 seasons. He's been a great one.
Well, you don't have any backs that average almost 7 yards. I don't care who they play for. If they played 2 years of football, then aren't great.
Run behind Remington, you can fall down for 5-yard gain.
Yeah, you'd say that, except he picks a lot up after he's hit.
He can break it. He's strong. 210. Now the pitch back. Gill throws it back. Rozier runs with the ball, and he works hard and gets down to the 37-yard line of LSU. So the Huskers start to run the ball now with Rozier on consecutive carries, moving at this time ahead for a gain of almost 10 yards.
And you know, Don, we have talked about Dave Remington, but they've got a guy that most of the scouts think will play professional football. He's the backup center to Remington. Brad Johnson, 260, 6'4". He's a senior. He's been in an unenviable position of playing there throughout his career, but he is a prospect.
Brad Johnson in at center now for Nebraska. I don't believe that Remington's hurt. We certainly had no report that he is. It's probably just a breather in a hot night.
He's not. Hey, it is hot, and this guy deserves to play. You know, anybody that plays as well as he does for that period of time should be given an opportunity to get in there and mix it a little.
So Brad Johnson in at center. This Nebraska offense hits the opposing defense like a Rocky Marciano right hand. Snap of the ball, those huge linemen fire out fast slashing runners right behind. They started to move it again now with Rozier carrying, and it will be 2nd down and inches for Nebraska at the 38-yard line of LSU. Rozier's run the ball 6 times for 31 yards. Nebraska really comes off the ball. And now here's Gill with a deep drop. Here comes the rush. Home run throw. Todd Brown, a diving effort, just a little long. The Huskers almost had the tying touchdown.
He tried to whip it in there. It was a little tough. He's got his tight end running down through the seam and actually got in his way a little bit because he's going to the wide man. You see the play action pass, but you'd like to be able to just lay the ball out to the right, but his tight end is coming underneath. You weren't able to see it, but the shadows are the tight end and a couple defensive backs. So he had to throw it where he did. Very close.
Turner Gill now 6 for 8 throwing the ball for 86 yards on 3rd and inches. Nebraska's quarterback takes it himself, and Turner Gill, a junior from Fort Worth, Texas, has the 1st down for the Huskers. So the Big Red from Lincoln moves the chain markers, trailing in the game 14-7 with 5:19 to play in the first half. See the 1st downs. Nebraska with the advantage there, but the turnovers is the critical number outside the bottom line of the scoreboard, which is the number 14-7. Nebraska's fumbled it away 3 times with plenty of help from LSU's defense. LSU's turned it over once on an interception, a tip ball. Not much there for Rozier as he runs right at LSU, and Elko back in at defensive end number 90 makes the stop.
Remember now, he's a man that played for Frank Kush out at Arizona State. He's of the type. He loves the action. He's a well-built, well-conditioned individual playing great defensive tackle for him. He and Marshall are keys to them playing good defense right now.
John, he had no choice about, there's Brad Johnson now, the pre-play. Elko had no choice about playing for Frank Kush. It's his uncle.
That's right.
Then he transferred when Kush left Arizona State. And blitz, and look at that play by Albert Richardson, the 3rd. All-American coming on the blitz. LSU's all-time leading tackler makes a big play for the Tigers.
To me, this is very good defensive planning. You see Brad Johnson, number 55. He's the pre-play. He does a heck of a job, but the play never gets underway. It's great that he's hustling, but look at Richardson. He comes in, he knocks the guard off, gets to Turner Gill, who gets stopped before he can do anything. They're taking a lot of chances, but they're coming up on the right end.
A great look at it. Our producer, Mike Wiseman, our director, John Gonzalez, says Turner Gill drops to throw and fires. He's got a man open, but it's tipped away. James Britt, the left corner, number 11, saved a big gainer for the Tigers.
There comes, he saved a big gainer, and he took a chance. He almost gave up a touchdown to Rozier, who happened to be out on the left flat. Well, looky there.
Penn State extending its lead over top-ranked Georgia to 20-3 in the second quarter at the Sugar Bowl. We have a possible upset in the offing here at the Orange Bowl with LSU a 2-touchdown underdog in the opinion of some, a 14-7 leader over Nebraska. But these Huskers have been behind before, and they can come up with a wallop in the fourth quarter. They scored 30 at Hawaii to come from behind in the fourth quarter. Irving Fryer downs the punt at the 9-yard line, so Nebraska gets it back, but not in the field position they'd like.
Hey, that's Mike's.
A 32-yard punt and no return at 3:37 to play in the first half. Don Criqui with John Brody back at the Orange Bowl in Miami. 3:37 to play in the first half. LSU, as you see, a surprise leader over Nebraska. 14-7, the Tigers up. They have the ball back at their 9-yard line. 1st and 10. Dalton Hilliard tries to turn upfield. Nebraska's defense brings out the run, and Brent Evans is in on the tackle along with cornerback Jim Murphy.
He didn't have anything there. That 5 yards was all due to his play. He creates some situations for himself that give him long gains. He's had a few holes, but he's one of those rare ones.
He is, and they showed great confidence in him, as we saw illustrated so well the last time LSU was down close. 1st and goal, they gave it to Hilliard 4 straight times. Nebraska turned him back 3 times, and on the 4th, Hilliard went in standing up as LSU took the lead. Now a good defensive play by Nebraska. Brent Evans, the linebacker, and Alan Lyday coming through. Lyday making the tackle. And so the Huskers now knock back. The LSU Tigers will be looking after the play at the Nebraska secondary. The pre-play here, they'll be keyed on by the isolated camera. You'll see them spread out on what should be a passing down for LSU, 3rd and 7.
It should be, but I don't think you'll see them take any unnecessary chances. It's very difficult to get a 15-yard gainer at this time, the way the defense for Nebraska is rushing. Risher. And they're blitzing.
They sure are coming. Alan Risher eludes it for the moment. Throws on the run and throws it away, and there's a penalty marker down. Herman Fontenot, 40, was the man nearest to the ball, one of the wingbacks. Let's watch that pre-play now as we look at it back.
Okay, we said blitz. When it's a blitz, it necessitates a one-on-one coverage from the defensive backs. You see them all locking on. I think there was a miscommunication up on the right-hand corner between the wide receiver and, who is number 41, and Alan Risher. Now you see that there's a little bumping taking place just as Risher lets the ball go, and that's when the flag is thrown. So we may see something take place.
And there's also a marker down, John, at the line of scrimmage.
Herman Fontenot was the receiver.
A legal receiver downfield is a possibility with 2:15 to play in the first half. Here comes the football back, and they're stepping some off against the Tigers of LSU. Dixon Holman, the referee. The legal man downfield.
I don't think they'll take it.
No, they're not going to take that. They'll bring it back to the line of scrimmage, and that will bring up 4th down on an incomplete pass. And so it will be a punting down for Clay Parker and LSU. Lost it down on the play.
Donnie, this is a chance for Nebraska because they played real good defense to get good field position and a chance to score before the half. They've got their 3 timeouts remaining, remember? LSU has none.
They're going for the block, it looks like. 10 men are coming. They don't get close to it, though. Parker gets it away, and a fair catch is signaled for and made by Irving Fryer on the LSU side of the field. The Huskers will go 1st and 10 at their 42-yard line. 37-yard punt. So let's see what Nebraska can do now with 2:08 to play in the first half, and the favored Cornhuskers trailing LSU 14-7. Some 9,000 plus in from Nebraska to watch the game. Over 15,000 from Louisiana to back the Tigers of LSU. Remington back in at center as Gill looks to throw, steps into the pocket and releases beautifully downfield. A strike to his wingback. Irving Fryer brings the ball down inside the 25-yard line of LSU.
Irving Fryer is a natural receiver. He's given time to run his routes because of this kind of offensive pass protection. When you take somebody, keep him off the pass and then push him down head first and give your passer a chance to throw the ball for 17 yards in about 4 seconds time, you're a help.
A 17-yard gain it was, and here is Turner Gill calling his own number. Trying to step in against the all-out rush, but there's a knockdown made by LSU, so it's going to be second down and long yardage. Leonard Marshall, that huge defensive end, on the stop for the Tigers, and now a timeout is signaled for by Nebraska with 1:41 to play. They have 2 remaining due the Huskers, 2 timeouts. And now, while we have a moment, with the score 14-7 here at the Orange Bowl, let's go to Len Berman in New York. Len? Pac-10 doing well, John, in these postseason games.
You know, 3 for 3. They had a year that I really don't think they had anybody in the top 5. But when they got in the bowls, I think they played up to their ability levels, and they do knock one another off. And the people on the West Coast are not convinced that they don't have the best conference. They certainly showed well this week.
The Royal Philharmonic from London, England, to a rock beat, will be performing at halftime here at the Orange Bowl. Always one of the great halftime shows in football. Dan McNamara says this is the best yet. Here's a throw to Irving Fryer as Jeffrey Dale, the rover back for LSU, 27, stung him as he got the ball, but he held on.
It's a sophomore weighing 210 pounds, Don, and he hits like a load. But an excellent throw. I'm impressed with Gill, the way his poise, he gets in there. It's very frustrating to, every time you get your drive started, have a fumble destroy it. Now they've had 3 or 4 of those. They've had some turnovers. He's been the cause of none of them, and he's in a very high-risk position.
And they say extremely bright, like a coach on the field. Turner Gill brings the whole package to quarterbacking the Nebraska offense. He's 8 for 11 throwing the ball in this game for 108 yards, and with 1:30 to play in the half and the ball down to the 20, Nebraska could take it and tie it up before halftime. Turner Gill, a 5'11", 185-pound junior out of Fort Worth, Texas. A young man who thought he'd lost his playing career with a nerve injury to his lower right leg. A season ago, he was at the Orange Bowl on the sidelines with a leg brace on. The attention of the good doctors in Lincoln, and Turner Gill is back playing better than ever. There's a problem here with the LSU defense, who pick him off. LSU is intercepting. Once again, it's Rydell Melanson making the big play. For LSU in the first half.
And Turner Gill will be the first to admit he should not have thrown this ball. He's got excellent penetration defensively, though, on the interior line. That's how you get these sort of pickoffs. All the linemen are working in tandem.
First time Turner Gill's been intercepted in his last 83 attempts. According to NBC statistician Steve Dans, with 1:20 left to go in the first half, the Husker threat is again stopped by a turnover, and LSU takes over the ball. Handoff goes to Mike Muntz, the fullback, and apparently LSU is going to take its winnings to the locker room if they can. Going to the run as the clock runs. At halftime, Penn State holding to a 20-10 lead over Georgia in the Sugar Bowl at New Orleans. And here at the 1983 Orange Bowl, LSU, a decided underdog, coming in. Fell behind Nebraska 7-0 when the Huskers went in on their first drive of the game, but now LSU, taking 4 turnovers from the Nebraska offense, has come back to take the lead 14-7. Nebraska scored less than 37 points in a game only 3 times this season. The Huskers average over 41 a game. They have only 7 so far, with the first half clock down to 34 seconds. And that spectacular Orange Bowl halftime show coming up. The Royal Philharmonic from London, England. The group that played the hit recording Hooked on Classics will be playing Hooked on Orange Bowl, another new rendition.
This is one of those situations, as the seconds tick away, Don, where they don't want to call a timeout offensively because they might have a mistake, and defensively they don't want to force them into throwing the ball, possibly getting it past midfield, and then making 3 points out of it. So into the locker room they go.
To a big salute. The LSU fans up and cheering the Bengal Tigers from Baton Rouge as the Cornhuskers, their powerhouse offense, stopped by turnovers, but they will be back in force in the second half. Halftime, LSU 14, Nebraska 7. A spectacular Orange Bowl halftime show is coming up next. Turner Gill might be gunning that right arm more in the second half, as the running game of Nebraska, the best in college football, has been thwarted in the first 2 quarters for the most part, although you'll recall Nebraska did rip off some big gainers. By and large, LSU's defense has been ready.
I don't think they want to go into the philosophy of trying to make big plays offensively. They'd like to be effective with what they're doing, and in order to do that, they're going to have to keep from turning the ball over. So far, LSU's defense has kept the best offense in college football at a standstill.
14-7 as we're set now for the start of the third quarter, and the Huskers will be receiving Irving Fryer and Jeff Smith, a sophomore breakaway runner, are back deep for Nebraska. Juan Betanzos, number 9 from Mexico City, Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, where he lives now, ready to kick it off for LSU. The Nebraska offense, with all that muscle in the line, all that speed in the backfield, looking to run the ball when they can. They were behind in their last game over in Honolulu against the University of Hawaii. Scared to death were the Nebraska fans. 8,000 went to the game, but then the Huskers got the running game rolling in the fourth quarter and ran up 30 fourth quarter points to win going away and extend their record to 11-1. They're still clearing the field from that great halftime show. The director of the London Royal Philharmonic you saw in Uncle Sam's costume is Lewis Clark, one of the great talents in international music. They were delighted to get him in the Royal Philharmonic for this halftime show. And so the Orange Bowl holds up with another great halftime and another great football game. And here is the sky kick by Betanzos. Fielded on the fly by Jeff Smith. He breaks it. Jeff Smith is out all the way to the 49-yard line of Nebraska. Sprinting down the sidelines, he got 38 yards. So the LSU sky kick hadn't worked yet tonight. We'd like to credit these people with tonight's halftime: Dan McNamara, June Taylor, Al Fleming, Gene Cockcroft, and Bill Ledoux.
Don, it hadn't been getting in the sky. That's the problem with it.
Not too high. First and 10, Huskers. Good field position to open the third quarter. You remember they had the ball in the same place the first time they got the ball in the first quarter and went 51 yards for a touchdown in 6 plays. Nebraska comes out of running, and the Cornhuskers get 10 yards on Rozier's carry.
And I noticed they got that ball off quickly. You notice in the first half when you start stunning and trying to get in the gaps, I think they had them a little off balance. I'm talking about LSU's defense had Nebraska's offense off balance a bit. You start calling plays on quick counts, and they have to be honest with you, and you get a little more effective.
2nd and 1. The pitch back goes to Rozier, and look at this man run the ball as Rozier comes inside to the 30-yard line. Bang, bang, and the Huskers are rolling.
Okay, we're going to take a look at it from the end zone, but watch how quick. When Turner Gill gets under the center, that ball is snapped. We're on our way. Everybody just take somebody, do the best you can. Look, that's great contact with all the up front men. Rozier's used to that kind of protection and blocking. He got 13 yards that time, but he got a big hole.
Mike Mandelko, the left guard, a senior, threw the key hit. And there's Rozier sprinting through, and now they go back running the ball. It's Mark Shalene. That's his 2nd carry of the game. You remember his first one on the first drive resulted in the first touchdown.
You might fool Tom Osborne for a while, but you're not going to fool him for a whole long while. He's got these guys getting off on the ball, getting out of the huddle, getting up to the ball before LSU can get into their different types of defenses, and just going on the first snap count, and it's effective.
Rozier now has run the ball 9 times for 57 yards. 2nd down and 3, Nebraska. High back, Roger Craig, and the Tigers of LSU come smoking out of the 3-point.
Okay, sometimes you go and you say, all right, we can get him out of that fancy stuff. We'll run a few plays on the quick counts, and then we'll go back to our old stuff. He waited about 6 seconds at the line of scrimmage. He gave the ball to his back, and look where the defense is. The quarterback can control the tempo of a game.
Big Leonard Marshall, number 97, the 285-pound defensive tackle. Marshall Law on the right side made the stop. It's 3rd and 3. Roger Craig didn't get there. But there is a penalty marker down as Roger Craig, backup tailback, ran the ball, and Albert Richardson, the All-American inside backer for LSU, made the stop.
I think what he did, Don, he made the stop on Turner Gill before he could pitch it off. You know, I think they called a penalty on him.
They got Nebraska on holding, so that takes the steam out of a drive. It was a 3rd and long 2 play, almost 3. Very similar, exact field position that Nebraska came out with in the 3rd quarter, as they did when they first got the ball at the outset of the game. The 49-yard line, their own, and they went 51 yards, and now they appear to be doing the same. With the carry short of the first down, LSU is going to decline the holding penalty, and the assessed yardage won't go, and they'll leave the ball down with 4th down coming up for Nebraska.
They're going to give him a 40-yard field goal shot. Obviously, people can sit and second-guess this decision later in the ball game as the score directs itself around, but I agree with it. I think you're forcing a team, if they want to get into a tie situation, to make 3 yards on 4th down, or the best they can get is within 4 with a field goal.
Seibel tries a field goal, and he's not close. He's 0 for 3 now this season outside the 40, and that's been effective long. And so the Cornhusker drive comes up empty. 12:49 to play in the 3rd quarter. LSU gets it back when we return. Here we are back at the Orange Bowl, and if you've joined us late, we're using a little new innovation here on NBC, the instant pre-play. We'll show you beforehand the players or number of players that will key on with the isolated camera. It's been kind of interesting, John.
Don, you know how hard it is to look at you and the camera, but I think we can look at the camera in this instance, because to me, I think a lot of these college seniors deserve an opportunity to be nationally recognized. We can do that by isolating them in advance. Steve McWhirter's one of those.
McWhirter, an inside linebacker, is the man that we're keying on, and you'll see him back in action now, and he filled a gap. He's a tough customer, McWhirter, coming off knee surgery, a senior from Fairfield, Iowa. He's a popper. Here he is.
Their defense has kept them in the game, and you have to have great linebackers to have a real good defense. Look what he does. He stuffs Muntz at the point of attack, which keeps Dowdy from being able to get past the line of scrimmage. That's an excellent play by number 45.
And so now it's 2nd down and 8 for the LSU Tigers. Alan Risher, the senior quarterback, takes a drop. Good pass blocking. Now it breaks down, and Nebraska's through. Kobe Williams, his brother Jimmy, was a great player for Nebraska the past 3 years, and now is a Detroit Lion. Their number 1 draft choice as a linebacker before getting hurt late in the season.
You can see by Risher's pained expression that things are not coming easily for the offense. They expected to be able to throw some of the short outs, which they've done all season long effectively. They've been taken away. He hoped to get a little better pass protection so he could hit his tight end over the middle. Hasn't been able to do that. It's been a tough night offensively for both sides.
This time the pre-play on Dan Kroger. We'll watch him after the play as he takes a pass drop. Here's a strike to Dalton Hilliard, who's out close to the 30-yard line, but still short of a 1st down, and LSU will have to punt the ball. Now let's watch Dan Kroger, who is Nebraska's all-time leading tackler, as he takes his drop.
Well, it's a good play by the defense. They're faking a blitz, but Dan Kroger's responsible for the fullback Muntz. The ball is already thrown by now. He comes over, tries to get in pursuit of the play. Good linebackers stay active until the whistle is blown, and Dan Kroger is one of those.
Very anxious to hit something.
He finds his target a lot, too.
He sure does. And now here's the punt by Parker. Huskers go for the block, and they almost got it. Irving Fryer, who fumbled a punt return earlier, you'll remember. Fair catches for a 2nd time, a 46-yard punt. And the ball will be at the 33-yard line, where Nebraska goes in offense, 1st and 10. 10:44 to play, 3rd quarter. We'll be back after this. Don Criqui with John Brody as the Nebraska Cornhuskers, favored in some quarters by 2 touchdowns, now find themselves down 14-7. Ready to go from their 33-yard line, 1st and 10.
This is a great look to watch the defense of LSU get themselves set. They weren't given an opportunity. As a result, the Cornhuskers picked up 5 yards. Don, it's a great angle.
Somebody said, John, that Tom Osborne looks like Tom Watson's big brother if he had one.
Yeah, he's somewhat the same attitude too. He's got a lot of that instinct in him that he wants to finish first. It's not a bad way to be.
He's run a great program in Nebraska. Most of these Huskers, like most of these Tigers from LSU, are homegrown in the states that are so proud of them. They carry with them the colors and the pride of 2 great states. And right now, Nebraska looking to even this game up, in Rozier running hard is knocked out of bounds as you see a look from the defensive end at Rozier coming at LSU. There's a penalty marker down. Mike Rozier, who broke a rushing record at Nebraska that stood for 32 years, rushing for over 1,700 yards this past season. 7 yards a carry. And he's only a junior. The whole Nebraska backfield comes back. Wilkening the fullback, Rozier the I-back, Turner Gill the quarterback.
I know the Big Eight's happy to hear that.
Yeah. That is a legal motion was signaled against Nebraska, and that sets the ball back inside the 35-yard line. It'll be second down and almost 10. Gill fires in the flat. Goes to Rozier. He has to work hard, and he does, and gets free. And then the wave of blockers in pursuit all of a sudden carries him forward across the 40 and out to the 41-yard line.
Listen, Don, they get to look at a lot of film, and I guess what Pete Jenkins said about Rozier is that if there's a man that's great after he has made contact with the defender, it's got to be him. That's why we have to gang tackle him. They've done so all night, but on that play, he picked up 8 extra on his own.
The 1983 Orange Bowl game with 9:20 to play in the third quarter. LSU, a big underdog, leading Nebraska 14-7. Nebraska going to the run, and Rozier on a 3rd and 2 play takes the pitch, goes over the top. It looks like he has a first down for the Huskers as he got out close to the 45-yard line.
Sometimes, Don, you see a play and it's a breather play to a lot of people because nothing happens out wide. That time Todd Brown was a wide receiver. He has no real assignment. James Britt, who's had a lot of things to do all night, has been in a lot of plays. He finally gets a breather. But play after play, these two have been having to go at each other.
Now in the instant pre-play, we're watching cornerback James Britt when we come back. As the Huskers on a first down carry go to the run, Mark Shalene, the blockbuster fullback, built close and built big. 5'9", 245 runs the ball.
Well, he's looking right through the backfield. These guys have to be alert all the time. It's the trait of a defensive back. When the running play starts, you do the best you can to get into it, but they play pass first. And I think they're going to have a lot more thrown in their area in the next few minutes.
Second down and 3. Britt, who you just watched, is the leading interceptor for LSU. He had 4 this season. Here's a pitch back, and they throw it away as LSU has the ball again. A 5th turnover for the Tigers from Baton Rouge. Lawrence Williams is starting off the field with the ball. He recovered the pitch back to wingback Irving Fryer.
Yeah, we say, okay, that's a stupid mistake. A guy like Turner Gill just doesn't make those kind. Well, baloney. He was forced to make it because an excellent defensive end play forced him to make the pitch. He made it before he wanted to make it. When you do that, sometimes you don't know where Fryer is placed. You throw the ball in a bad snap, and it's a turnover. That's an excellent defensive play for LSU.
That has been the story as LSU moving to the top of this game after trailing 7-0. You see the plus margin. LSU has been doing this all season long. That 4th fumble recovery ties an Orange Bowl record. Risher stands in, throws the ball, and Dalton Hilliard can't hold on. Incomplete.
Tell you, patience is a virtue for both quarterbacks tonight. Things are not coming easily. Risher goes back, has to wait for quite a while. Hilliard is the receiver, the halfback all-purpose freshman who, you see Risher's waiting quite a while, makes a perfectly thrown pass. One of the few times that number 21 will drop one. Risher's 7 for 19 for 100 yards with 1 interception.
Second and 10, Risher standing in against the rush. He delivers. Hilliard has the ball. First down, LSU to the 26-yard line of Nebraska. Steve McWhirter, one of the inside backers, made the knockdown, but he did it 14 yards downfield.
What a good play. You see Dave Remington getting very frustrated on the sideline. They're not in a position to get the ball. When they do, they've been turning it over. But Alan Risher waited so well, man, and it shows a lot of confidence when you come back to a freshman after he drops a big second down pass.
Well, they're certainly confident, and as we saw earlier when on first and goal, they went to him 4 straight times and finally took it in. Risher ready to roll again, throws over the middle and going for the ball with a spectacular reception is Eric Martin. He came out of Texas as a running back. They made him a wide receiver this year and he caught 45.
That play was totally on Risher and Eric Martin. It was a blitz. It was a situation where they expected to get to Risher going up the middle. They sent 8 people at the quarterback, leaves the middle wide open. When a guy can catch the ball like that, you got to give him 21 yards.
Steve Regan, the receivers coach for LSU, nicknamed him E.T. because he's got hands like that little creature, the long fingers. We saw it there with the one-handed reception, and now LSU runs the ball straight ahead. Penalty markers down at the line of scrimmage. Mike Muntz carries the ball. Let's watch E.T. take it in one hand again. Legal procedure signaled against LSU.
And this is the way they got down there. You have to make these kind of plays to beat a team like Nebraska. Their offense hasn't been moving very well. That'll get you started, if anything will.
Legal procedure is signaled against the LSU offense, so they're sent back now to the 12-yard line of Nebraska.
I'm not sure that Alan Risher would like the comparison, but he looks a lot. He throws the ball. His motion is a lot like Kilmer. He can get it done very well. He's a stiff-arm thrower with a lot of touch, and that's not bad in my opinion. Jurgensen was that way. There've been a lot since. Bobby Lane, they could all do it.
Group your name, sure they could, and Alan Risher has all season long the second most effective passer in the country. Now this time he tries to gun one quickly out to Hilliard coming out of the backfield, as you see, incomplete. 6:56 to go, third quarter. LSU at the 12-yard line of Nebraska. Alan Risher, a Dean's List pre-medical student from Slidell, Louisiana, right outside New Orleans.
You'll notice they've made very few mistakes, and I think on when it gets down to second down, third down, they'll take what they're given, if they're given anything here. They'd love to throw an out to the slot back in this situation.
Second and goal from the 12. Dalton Hilliard in motion. Risher did very well just to get it away as the Huskers got the big pass rush. Coming smoking from the middle guard was the big senior from Huntsville, Alabama, Jeff Merrill.
And Jeff Merrill has to be given credit, but give Risher credit for previewing the situation. He knows if he gets a real blitz, it could take him out of field goal range if he doesn't get rid of the ball. He throws it into no man's land and gets a shot at 3, even if they're not effective now.
LSU, a good second half team, well conditioned. They train and play mostly in the heat of Baton Rouge and the humidity. And Alan Risher, again, as he was forced to in the first half, has to call timeout looking at a defense he's not sure of. So Risher goes over to the sideline. And while he does, we'll pause for this word and then come back to the 49th Orange Bowl game. An aerial view of one of the most famous football stadiums in America, the Orange Bowl. This renewal of the Orange Bowl game going on now for almost half a century. Next year, the silver anniversary, the golden anniversary, 50 years of Orange Bowl play. And we have another good one tonight as LSU leads Nebraska 14-7. LSU coming in as a 2-touchdown underdog, rolling from behind with 14 straight points. No scoring so far in the second half. We'll watch Alan Risher. We're going to stay with him. You'll see him back on the isolated replay after the play.
And he may get a lot of business, because if I'm defensive oriented right now, I'm coming after him.
Third and goal. He throws. It's incomplete. Jeff Merrill bopping through again, and you'll see him put the hammer on Alan Risher.
He's a little disgusted, but I think he's a little concerned. Jeff Merrill, the nose tackle, got there just about the time he threw. He wanted to take a little more time. He really couldn't do it. Little bitty pump, one good ham hock across the neck, If you think that, and then he didn't mean it, right? He didn't mean it. Couldn't mean it. The life of QB.
Now Betanzos, who's a good long-range kicker. This is a straightaway shot. On the way, plenty of distance. And Betanzos hits the field goal for the Tigers of LSU, and they opened up a 17-7 lead over favored Nebraska. So the LSU Tiger is boogieing on the sidelines, and we'll come back to the Orange Bowl right after this. Tom Osborne, the Nebraska coach, in assessing his opponent tonight, LSU, said they may have stubbed their toe a couple of times, but in the big games they've played their very best, and this is the biggest game LSU's had this season, and they're playing superbly, leading favorite Nebraska by 17-7. Jerry Stovall had his Tigers ready.
You bet. He knew they would be too. He said, boy, we love this 3 weeks to get ourselves ready. We're healthy, and we think we can win. And I think that's the key to any football game. And you got a lot of people throughout the country and a lot of colleges that think they can win.
Only the 4th time that Nebraska's been behind in the second half this season. They're 11-1 coming in, and the kickoff by Betanzos, who just hit the field goal, is deep enough in the end zone that Fryer's not going to bring it out. So with 6:40 to go on the touchback, LSU comes out on defense, and Nebraska will go 1st and 10 at their 20. Right now, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. The Cornhuskers of Nebraska, unable to score since their first possession of the game when they went 51 yards early in the first quarter in a 6-play drive. Now trailing 17-7. Turner Gill has thrown the ball well, 9 for 13 for 114 yards. Been intercepted once. Guns it out. Looked like the ball should have been caught. Wingback Irving Fryer had his hands on it, but lost it. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, I mean, if you're going to put a running back in a tough situation or a flanker back, try running a roll out to the left side, have the quarterback throw it going to the left, and then have your flanker running, trying to catch the ball behind him, having to turn. That's the toughest play to complete and make 9 yards in the history of the game.
Brad Johnson in at center, replacing for the time being Dave Remington. Turner Gill, a pitch back to Rozier. Defense well executed by Nebraska. Elko, the defensive left tackle, number 90, was on the play. There's also a penalty marker down.
You got a wonderful chance to see the plan that LSU has. That is to get to Turner Gill quick and make him commit. They did that, but at the end of the play, they had a little problem. Elko, who's been very aggressive all night, may have been called for a little bit late of a hit.
Got there late, and a personal foul is signaled against the Tigers of LSU, and so the big assessment marked off out to the 35-yard line.
And the coaching staff is not too pleased with it. I think that's why he's taking a breather.
Yeah, Elko comes out. First and 10, Nebraska. Favored Huskers down 17-7. Rozier working hard. The yards don't come easy against this very aggressive LSU defense, but Rozier gets ahead across the 40. Got 7. 2nd and 3. Stovall talked before the game about the importance of getting the plus turnovers, as he calls them, getting the ball turned over on the Nebraska side of the field. They've been doing that. A 5-to-1 turnover ratio in favor of LSU in this game. Eric Kiddick on the tackle on a 2nd and 3 play. Going to be short of the first down, so now it comes up 3rd down and 2 for Nebraska.
And a man named Rydell Melanson. All right, you got it. He's been close all night. Number 99. You've seen him a lot on your screen. He hasn't been the first man there, but he's been hustling.
We'll see Melanson if they go to the pass a lot. He's a blitzer, leads the team in sacks. Look at this play by Turner Gill. Fakes the pitch back. He had his ace Rozier trailing him. And Gill with that quick move and then the acceleration downfield advances the ball 12 yards for a Cornhusker first down. So Nebraska's moving it now.
Listen, once you allow Turner Gill to get past his tight end, to get 6-7 yards, laterally down the line of scrimmage, you can close shop because he's going to turn it up when he decides it's time. This time he's got Britt in an impossible situation. He got a good block from Todd Brown to pick up a first, but can't let him get out there.
1st and 10. Gill averaging 5 yards a rush when he's carried the ball. Here is a handoff from the young back Jeff Smith. Talk about good people backing up good people. Jeff Smith, the runner here, ran for over 500 yards, averaged 10.2 a carry. As a sophomore, 5'11", 195 out of Wichita, Kansas. So now the ball's down to the 41-yard line. There was a gain of 3 on that carry by Smith. Here's the next great one, they say, in the long line of Husker runners. Gill, first back through is fullback Mark Moravec, number 40. First carry of the game, advances the ball down close to the LSU 36-yard line. Lawrence Williams, burly linebacker, 5'10", 220, made the stop for LSU.
They haven't used that play very much, and it's the sort of thing that usually exposes itself when they're effective running laterally. Gill's picking up yardage, he's throwing it back to Rozier. Then you can hand it to the fullback and he'll pick up the given yardage, but they haven't been able to create it yet.
Ramsey Dardar, that middle guard for LSU, is wearing some people out. Remington's been going in and out. Dardar's going the distance. Pitch back. Jeff Smith runs the ball. He's hit hard. Tim Joyner back in the game, playing with an injured ankle, 92, going on with the injury. Makes the stop short of a first down, so it's going to bring up 4th down for the Huskers, 4th and 1.
Well, they don't have any alternative, Don. They have to have a go at it. You certainly can't punt. You can't kick a field goal unless you got a kicker that can go for 53 yards. And I think
they don't. Well, one of those.
And they've only got a yard to make. Now, with the offensive line they have, I don't care what kind of defense LSU's playing, they've got to have a go at it.
4th and 1 for Nebraska. The Huskers trailing 17-7, third quarter. Going to throw the ball. They do. Man is open. Todd Brown, the wide receiver, coming off the flank. Angles to the middle of the field, and Nebraska gets the big play on 4th down and a first down.
Hey, that's given the defense some respect. Very seldom do you see Nebraska in a 4th and 1 throw a play-action pass. A wonderfully executed play, and it's a tough thing to execute. Todd Brown gets down. The defensive back, Britt, slips, gets a 19-yard completion, keeps the drive alive. Down by 10.
Down by 10, but driving is Nebraska. 1st and 10 inside the 20. Our football, Moravec runs the ball for the Huskers. Lawrence Williams meets him head on. Advanced down inside the 15-yard line. Game clock down to 2:26 and running in the third quarter. Mike Rozier is the man we'll key on.
They've got to go to their big man at a critical time, and he's it.
2nd and 6. Up the gut. Rozier. Down to the 11, but it brings up 3rd down and about 4.
You know, Don, we've heard so much about the defensive linebacking unit, Lawrence Williams and Al Richardson, but here's a guy who's great once contact is made. This time, number 31 just puts him right back on his helmet, and that's great linebacker play.
We're going to watch Rozier again, the junior tailback from Camden, New Jersey. He goes in motion. He's getting the throw, and there he goes. Touchdown Huskers, and Nebraska's right back in it with 1:25 to go, third quarter. The Big Reds got it moving now. 11 yards in the score.
It's the first time all night they've run the motion play where they've had a chance to get Gill throwing the ball to Rozier on the run with a linebacker trying to cover. He catches it on the dead run. The linebacker blows the assignment. He runs it in for 6.
He's in the end zone often. 18 touchdowns now this season. The extra point is driven through by Seibel. And Nebraska finally sustains the offense. Doesn't turn the ball over. Rozier takes it in. His 3rd reception of the night, good for 11 yards and the touchdown.
You can see he's already out into his pass route. The linebacker did not move on the snap of the ball. When he did, He's already let the play go by.
A good one going at the Orange Bowl, and we'll be back with the Nebraska kickoff right after this. Eddie Murphy coming up later. Right now we've got Nebraska and Penn State going at it, with Penn State holding up to us 27-17 victory, lead at any rate over Georgia, the top-ranked team in the fourth quarter. LSU holding to a 3-point lead over Nebraska right now, 17-14. 12-play drive by the Cornhuskers, 80 yards. They used up 5:15. Great offensive football by Nebraska to get back in the game. Now the kickoff squibs into the end zone, and Herman Fontenot downs it there, and LSU will go from their 20.
Don, they've got to do something offensively, LSU does, in order to keep their lead, because they're not going to hold Nebraska out of the end zone in the fourth quarter. No one has, and it's certainly not to be expected. They've got to do something offensively, and they haven't done enough to really dominate the game.
Rozier, a big force on offense all season long, with 114 total yards tonight, 84 running the ball, 30 on 3 receptions. The last score, 11 yards and the touchdown. 17-14, LSU with the ball in the 3-point lead over favored Nebraska. Down the field they go to the tight end, and Malcolm Scott wide open with the ball, and he's across the 45-yard line. 25-yard gain.
They knew it too. They know it is no time to try and dominate the game running the ball. They've shown they can't do that. They've got to throw when they're expected to run. They do that. A perfectly thrown ball to Malcolm Scott. He picks up a long first down on the 45-yard line. They better keep it going.
The Orange Bowl with over 70,000 here. Both these teams love the big crowd. They both play to sell out game after game at home. Nebraska with a continuing NCAA record. They've sold out 128 straight times at Lincoln. Now the Husker defense comes to smoking. Defensive end Tony Felici, a senior from Omaha and the leading tackler this season for Nebraska, makes the stop. A 9-yard loss on the play as Felici was a coming.
And they've come with 5 people, 4 people. That time they sent 8. They've put their defensive backs in a one-on-one situation, and they couldn't shake anybody loose, and that's what happens when you can't.
Felici, the leading sacker, he has 14 in the last 2 seasons. Here's a guy that's done a big job in the middle. Jeff Merrill, we'll watch him on the replay when it's over. Second down and 19 for Alan Risher and the Tigers. Jeff Merrill was the man, along with Toby Williams.
Okay, this is what happens when you've got as many outstanding players. You keep playing all night. Jeff Merrill on Gambrell, the center. He's an excellent center, but he's been up against Merrill all night long without any breathers. As the third quarter closes, they better get it humming.
A great game through 3 quarters. We'll be back right after these messages from your local station. Everyone at LSU back and ready to go now. Third down coming up for the Tigers. Third and 21. LSU's lead down to 3 now as we open the fourth quarter. 17-14. Tigers lead Nebraska. Pitch up to Hilliard, and didn't fool anybody. Nebraska stopped it cold. Doug Herman, the big junior tackle from Minneapolis, made the knockdown on Dalton Hilliard, and so LSU has to punt the ball back, and Nebraska could get good field position. Although this Parker can unload, the barefoot punter who might be the best baseball pitcher on the LSU team next spring, ready to hit the ball. He's going to run it. He's got a long way to go. He's not going to get close. A gamble and a loss on that one as Nebraska stops it.
And I think, Don, that he mistook the first down line. It looked like he was trying to make a first down, which was really at where the series started. He's a little trapped, but he can still kick the football. He decides not to. He's got 20 yards to pick up for a first. Anybody can converge in that amount of room. He picks up 11, but it's not enough. they turn it over with a big play.
Strategically, the equivalent of a turnover for Nebraska as the Huskers get the ball on the LSU side of the field. Handoff goes, and Rozier working hard. He was in the end zone. You remember the last time he had his hands on the ball to bring Nebraska close, gets inside the 45-yard line. Jeffrey Dale knocked him down on a first down carry, a gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. I think there's no question about that, John, that he did look at the chain marker that started the drive. Thought he only had to get 9, but he had to get 19.
It's those little things that you work on and you work on and you work on, and then in a big game sometimes you get in a situation where you just may not have paid attention to a detail, as we watch Dave Remington, and you cause a turnover.
That's who will be keying on. Dave Remington. We'll watch him back as they go to the run. Here's a pitch to Rozier. Good defense by LSU. Tigers filling.
Elko is playing good football. He's made a lot of things happen. Both their tackles, Marshall and Elko, have made things happen all night, allowing those linebackers to make plays at the line of scrimmage. And not many people have been able to do that. Take a look. Here you have Remington trying to create some room for his guards to pull and create holes. Elko, number 90, has already slipped through the blocks. He's in the backfield. Hard to make things happen when you got a defender in the backfield.
Down and 6 for Nebraska. Good throw over the middle. Coming off the flank, Todd Brown can't hold on. Here's a penalty marker, though, and it looks like a call against LSU on interference. And the Husker drive will stay alive.
Oh, boy. Well, the first time without having the benefit of a replay, it looked like a right call to me. It's a tough call. You make your own choice at home, but I do know it's a first down.
First down it is on the penalty against the LSU pass secondary. First and 10 at the 36-yard line of LSU. To the run, Rozier hitting hard and getting hit hard. Al Richardson, the inside linebacker, a first-team All-American in one poll. Senior backer from Baton Rouge was the first hitter, 51.
Well, Remington and Dardar have been having a one-on-one battle all night long, and it hasn't been a one-sided one either. The All-SEC nose tackle, Ramsey Dardar, number 98, is down on the bottom of this pile, and he appears to be a bit, not only tired, but I think he's got a finger in the eye or something. He's hurt.
But he's staying right there. Now here's a throw off the flat, and it's overthrown. Dardar coming out, and Greg Bowser coming in. Dardar must have gotten a finger in the eye. Coming off the flank on that play was a junior flanker, Ricky Simmons, speedster out of Greenville, Texas. You see Turner Gill's numbers, the 1 interception, but there, of course, have been the 4 Nebraska turnovers on fumbles. LSU has turned the ball over just once. They were down close. A tip ball was intercepted to stop a drive. Right now, it's a 17-14 game. LSU leading at the half, 14-7, holding to a 3-point lead when we come back. Mike the Tiger, the LSU mascot down here. Don't get too close. Little guy's starting to get big. Don Criqui with John Brody at the Orange Bowl. Nebraska teams this season have averaged 14 points in the fourth quarter. Right now they're trailing underdog LSU 17-14. We'll be watching Ramsey Dardar isolating with the pre-play on him. We key on the person before the play. You'll know it's coming back after. Dardar was out for a play. He's been in a street fight all night long with the Nebraska centers Remington and Johnson.
All 3 of those down linemen.
Turner Gill sets in and throws. He's got a man heading for the end zone, but not getting in. Is Irving Fryer, the wingback, but Nebraska gets it inside the LSU 5-yard line with a 27-yard gain.
You sit there and you watch a guy, and the most frustrating thing in the world is to have a guy like Remington blocking on you one-on-one. You get by him, and now the left guard handles you, Mandelko. And if he isn't going to get you, the right guard will. And now you got plenty of time to throw a little delay to Fryer. He makes a big play down inside the 5, first and goal.
First and goal it is for the Nebraska Cornhuskers looking to take the lead. They get close, but they don't get in. The pitch back to Rozier. 11:43 to play in the game. Nebraska trailing by 3, but threatening to go ahead now.
The action's picking up. Greg Bowser, the other nose tackle, with Dardar. The action's a bit intense, and nobody likes to be bent over. But the only way to answer.
Rozier close to 100 now, has 96 yards. That was Dean Steinkuhler blocking on Dardar. Right guard. Touchdown, Nebraska. The Cornhuskers take the lead, but there's a penalty marker down. Penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. Going to go. It was against LSU, so the points are up. And Nebraska is now on the board with the go-ahead touchdown. 20-17 with the extra point attempt coming up. Mark Shalene, his second touchdown of the night. No, it's Turner Gill taking it himself.
He went straight up, getting the center, and I'm surprised he was able to bend his back forward to put the ball over the goal. Not many guys can do that, number one, but those who do generally don't get a chance to fall forward.
They did that time. Seibel hits it, and the Huskers crank it up and get it rolling in the second half. Now they've outscored LSU 14-3. We have a long way to go. We'll be back after this. Great night in South Florida. Perfect for football, and Nebraska rolling here in the second half has come from behind. Huskers down at halftime 14-7. Now outscoring LSU in the second half 14-3 to take a 21-17 lead, but a long way to go. We have 11-14 to play. Turner Gill, the junior quarterback, playing a big game for Nebraska, throwing the ball, running the ball. He was the man in the end zone in the last carry over the top. Now the kickoff by Seibel, and here comes Eric Martin from a yard deep. Down at the 12. As the Huskers roll down with the special teams, Wade Kreiner was down to make the tackle. 11-yard return to his end zone. Nebraska defense didn't get the press the offense did, John, but Nebraska defense has been the key in this game.
Really, they have. They're the ones that kept them in when things were going against them. They're the group that's played the toughest all night. Remember now, Alan Risher's a heck of a quarterback, and he hasn't been held in check this way throughout a ball game.
Risher comes out throwing, fires the fastball. Eric Martin takes it on the far flank and steps out of bounds for a gain.
We made the play, the statement that those are the type of plays they love to complete if you give it to them. But they haven't had an opportunity to do so all night because they have been playing very close to the wide receivers and haven't given the 7-yard outs. That's one of the few.
Eric Martin wasn't sure. He wanted to switch from running back to wide receiver when he came back this summer. But he's been outstanding with a big regular season. 45 catches in a big game tonight. Mike Muntz carries the ball. Rob Stuckey knocks him down. Third down arises now for the LSU Tigers and Coach Jerry Stovall surveying from the sideline, ready to send in the play. It comes in with flanker Herman Fontenot.
Well, Jerry knows it's uphill. He knows his team had an uphill go at it when they walked in here. They've had a wonderful season, but they've done everything they can do to win the football game. Now it's up to the offense to get it down the field.
Nebraska defense coming up with 5 turnovers. The LSU defense, 5 turnovers, and here is a near interception. Alan Lyday coming off the flank as a corner, moving it on the ball. It was going to Eric Martin. Jeff Merrill, the middle guard, again pressuring LSU quarterback Alan Risher.
Sometimes the really top athletes make plays that look very routine that save touchdowns. That was one of them. Had he not got his hand back on that ball, it was picked off and long gone the other way.
So the Cornhuskers, winners of 11 games this regular season, 11-1 and a 9-game win streak, will get it back. Another good punt by Grant Parker and a penalty marker down. Irving Fryer returns it. Oh, look at it. Looks like Johnny Rogers. Another wingback from Nebraska fame. But there's a penalty marker down when the ball was kicked. It's in the LSU backfield.
I think it's going to go against LSU, however, Don.
Yep.
And they are tired right now. They've been hanging in there, but they are worn out. You can tell on special teams sometimes. You see number 27, who's done quite a job all night long. Irving Fryer makes a nice run back, puts him in a position to run this ball game out.
Nebraska loaded with good people, taking command now as the game wears on, but we've still got a long way to go. 10 minutes left to play. A 41-yard punt return by Irving Fryer, assessed by Jerry Stovall as the most dangerous player on the Nebraska team, even more than Rozier. Turner Gill runs the ball on first down, doesn't get too far, gets it inside the 25-yard line, down to about the 23. Irving Fryer, with an average of over 15 yards a punt return, was number 1 in the Big 8. They got the athletes.
And they're playing good right now.
They've also got the people on the sidelines. Nebraska brought 135 players. When Jerry Stovall heard that, he said, the coach is luncheon. We don't have 135 football players in the state of Louisiana that can walk and whistle.
The ones they brought can do just fine.
That's right. To the run, and Roger Craig, another of the good I-backs for Nebraska, runs the ball.
Now that things are going his way, Turner Gill doesn't have to run the show all day. He can let the rest of the cast do their work. This is what a quarterback loves to do when he's got a 3 or 4 point lead. He's got 9 minutes left to play. The ball's in scoring territory. You hand it off, you give it the ole and say, nice going, fellas.
Now Ricky Simmons comes out in the right flank. Lone wide out as a 3rd down and 2 play comes up for Nebraska. Gill didn't get there. Big D by the LSU Tigers. Stovall, a great runner at LSU, and a defensive back when he played there.
Hey, let's give credit to all these fellas. Number 90, Elko, again comes from the offside. They force Turner Gill to go up a little bit. And look who's right there making the tackle. In pursuit, number 90.
Now Seibel is in the game with 4th down and 3 coming up.
Sir, if I'm
calling for a block.
No, he's saying, hey, don't let them fake it. Don't let them fool you. We can still win the game with a touchdown and a 2-pointer if they go for the field goal. But we got no case if they run a fake.
Into the down, drop the ball. LSU takes over.
Hey.
Oh, my.
It's amazing. It was one of those hide-em plays. He was out there. Nobody was covering him because nobody knew he was out there. All right, let's watch Turner Gill's reaction. He thinks he's got a touchdown over to the bench. Whoops, we're back in a dogfight, and we don't even have the ball.
Tim Brungard, number 32, going for the ball. Had it right where he wanted it, but it turned out to be a bad place, right in the hands.
Well, what Stovall was yelling at was that somebody had to go over and cover the guy down to the left. I thought he was trying to make sure they didn't have what they did let happen.
So LSU, when it seemed that Nebraska was going to take it in to put the game away, perhaps, doesn't make the big play. The Huskers now give the ball back to LSU, and they'll have it 1st and 10. We're back at the Orange Bowl, and it's been a good one with 7:59 still to be played. A drop ball on a fake field goal by Nebraska, and LSU gets it back and very much a chance in this game.
He's talking to 2 guys that if they have a shot, they've got a shot because Richardson and Darter have played absolutely outstanding defense all day long. Stovall's trying to get the last 8 minutes of energy out of them because he knows they're in a Donnybrook. The offense has got to do something. We've been saying it for 2 quarters down, but they've got to come up with some big ones.
Well, they're opening up in a passing formation, 2 wide receivers and a man in motion. LSU ready to throw on 1st down. Risher guns it. Hilliard has it. He's level. Nebraska comes smoking. Dave Burke, sophomore cornerback from Layton, Utah. Number 33 hit him.
That's good defense. You stop those kind of plays that are completed for 3 yards. They've been doing it time in and time out.
Been a terrific game. At the outset, it looked like Nebraska was going to blow LSU out. Nebraska ran right through the Tigers and went up 7-0 on its first possession. And LSU came back to lead 14-7 at halftime. Extended the lead to 17-7. Nebraska came back on a long drive. It was 17-14. Now, here's a long ball downfield. Intercepted and lost. You know, Dave Burke gets a tip ball. It's a Nebraska interception. Dave Burke got the tip ball off his teammates' hands, and it's now yes, it is. It's an interception. Snowball can't believe it, but it goes.
Well, it's a little Brett Clark to Dave Burke or vice versa. The big thing is Risher is trying to make something happen, and there's really nothing there. Great defensive play. Both Burke and Clark are in a position to see the ball. Martin is dog tired. He's been running all night. He's at the point where he can't really run crisp routes. He comes to him anyway. It's a hope job. They've got to get something going. But watch this reaction. Laying on the ground, how sweet it is when the ball falls in your lap.
Right place at the right time, Dave Burke. And now Turner Gill wants some. He's going for the home run. Knocked away at the last second. Going for the ball was the flanker, Todd Brown.
He's reacting. He got one call a little earlier. Britt was a little too close on a third down play. Ended up in a touchdown. That was good coverage.
Two sides starting to air that ball out now.
Well, they know somebody's got to do something.
Good play by James Britt.
Darn right.
LSU's All-American cornerback. There's Dave Burke, who is flat in his back.
He's the happiest guy I've seen in a while, flat on his back.
We've had a lot of guys flat out in this game. Gill on 2nd and 10 over the middle, and the ball is intercepted by LSU. Williams intercepts. Lawrence Williams, a linebacker, across the 50, inside the 40, down to the 37-yard line, and LSU has a chance again with 6:53 to play.
Let me just tell you something. The coordination after the interception. We mentioned Al Richardson's been doing his thing. Watch this. I think that isn't a nice play by Richardson over to Williams. Little linebacker tandem, but look at the way Brett gets in front of him, gives him an opportunity to make a big interception and then pick up 17 yards. That's hanging in there.
It sure is. Rozier finally tackled Lawrence Williams. First down and 10 LSU. Tigers trail Nebraska by 4. To the run. Dalton Hilliard, the freshman who's been quiet for a while after a great early go in the ball game when he got that touchdown on 4 straight runs, is knocked down by Tony Felici. But LSU gets the ball on the Nebraska side of the field. A 6th turnover by the Cornhuskers. They fumbled it away 4 times. Gill has been intercepted twice.
6 turnovers, and the defense is still hanging in there, giving up 17 points. That's great defense.
We're going to watch Eric Martin. As the isolated camera will follow him, and Risher's looking at him. But instead, he goes out to Hilliard, and Hilliard's inside the 30 and very close to a first down.
This is an option play. Every team's got one. Eric Martin, the wide receiver, was in a one-on-one situation, but the cornerback is playing underneath. You see Burke, he's taking the out pattern away. When he turns up, Risher cannot go to him. He'd like to, but he has to come off down to Hilliard. He picks up about 6, but it's, what, 3rd and 1.5.
3rd and just over a yard it is. LSU down by 4. Dalton Hilliard drilled at the line. Didn't look like he got there. It'll bring up 4th down with 6 minutes and 5 seconds to play and the clock running and the coach is moving.
Well, what you're doing is they're taking their best shots with their best people right now. They go over at their right. They go into their right tackle, Lance Smith, sophomore, 265-pounder, number 75. If he can't clear a hole out, who's going to do it?
He's the guy, Lance Smith, the sophomore guard from Kannapolis, North Carolina. 285 pounds, right tackle, 75. Top of your screen. 4th and 1 for LSU. Back to the freshman, Hilliard. Penalty markers are down. So
you know what I think? I think we just got the first too much time penalty all year long for LSU. I'm not sure, but I think so.
Well, they haven't had to delay a game, that's right, all season long.
Nope, it's not. No, it's not.
That's right. Risher didn't know it, though.
Isn't that amazing?
Delay a game is signaled against LSU.
He's never seen that signal. He must have thought it was going for him. It's like
some of these passing quarterbacks that never knew there was a 4th down.
Yeah, well, do you know how hard it is? I'm surprised. I thought they blew the ball dead. In fact, I'm sure they did. I would have a go at it on 4th down. This is the first time all night that I have disagreed with Stovall's decision. He's got 5 minutes and 23 seconds to play.
Well, another thing, though, John, they're going to try a field goal.
Well, that's what I mean. He's getting to within 1 point. They can lose by 1 or whatever.
The holder, Timmy Bird, is a quarterback. Kid can unload. He's got it. Juan Betanzos drills a long one. And it's a 1-point game with plenty of time left. 5:05 to go. Nebraska 21, LSU 20. Back to the Orange Bowl after this. The Huskers are dancing, but their lead is down to 1 over LSU with 5:05 to play in this 1983 Orange Bowl game. Don Criqui with John Brody. The LSU Tigers keep fighting. They just get the long field goal from Juan Betanzos. Then they get a 1-point game after LSU opened up a 17-7 lead in the 3rd quarter, only to find Nebraska come roaring back with consecutive touchdowns to take the lead. Nebraska now is bringing its deep backs way up. They're looking for that sky kick. He hits it long, straight away boot.
I like that one. I like the long one as opposed to the sky one.
That one, no way that's coming back. Out of the end zone. James Wagner comes in to kick the long ball for LSU. So now Nebraska holding to a 1-point lead with 5:05 to go. And of course, John, there'll be the inevitable second guessing of Jerry Stovall in that decision to take the points off earlier, but then they did get it back right away.
There's always that kind of second guessing, Don, but that's the point. They went to try and make a touchdown. It didn't work. They had a turnover, but they got another one, and then they scored 7. So
went ahead with that score. The LSU defense has come up with the ball 6 times on Nebraska turnovers, and you know they're looking for it now.
Well, okay, they only made a yard and a half, and Dave Remington, sure, he's pushing Darter out, but he's got a lot of help from his other right guard, number 71, who's also expected to be, one of those drafts in the high rounds. Steinkuhler is a top player also, but they're not making yardage.
He's got a year to go, though. Steinkuhler. Both quarterbacks have thrown for 170 yards. Both have been intercepted twice. Rozier runs the ball and runs it well, and he's ahead for a Nebraska first down. The junior I-back runs the ball ahead and gets it across the 35-yard line to the 37. This is about it right at the 35.
You don't know how valuable a great back is until you have about 5 minutes left in a ball game, and you need to control it offensively by running out the clock. And that's the only reason I'm not sure I agreed with Stovall, is because if he gets the 3, for them to get the ball back in good field position is a very difficult task.
Another hallmark of the great backs. The more they get it, the more they like it. Rozier with 100 yards now on 21 carries, and Turner Gill wants to talk things over with his coaching staff with 4:20 left to play in the game. And Nebraska leading 21-20. The city of Miami, Florida, aglow on New Year's Day night. You heard about the civil disturbances here, but all is peaceful again in Miami, Florida. And the Orange Bowl is packed again for the 49th renewal of a signal event in college football. The Orange Bowl Classic. It's been a great game, and it's not over yet with 4:20 to go. Nebraska holding to a 1-point lead. Huskers have the ball, as you see, 1st and 10. Marshall, the big guy, comes in from right tackle. They play like a down end. Really, the outside linebackers are really the ends. Leonard Marshall, him smoking through to get Turner Gill. Final score, Penn State and Joe Paterno send Georgia, previously unbeaten, down to its first loss in the Sugar Bowl, 27-23. For all of you joining us at the 1983 Orange Bowl game, this has been a superb football game. LSU, a 2-touchdown underdog. Coming in, fell behind the first time Nebraska got the ball, 7-0. Then LSU, capitalizing on Cornhusker turnovers, rallied back, scored 14 points and led 14-7 at the half. Now Nebraska, after falling behind 17-7, scores 2 quick touchdowns, and then LSU come back with a long field goal to make it a 21-20 game with 3:45 to play.
And you can see Jerry Stovall, the concern that he has right now is that do we get a chance to get into a field goal position again? Can we get possession of the ball? We've got 2 timeouts. Nebraska's moving the ball pretty well on the ground right now. There's 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go. And they've played it so well, you hate to see either team lose. I know people say, hey, you can't play well when you have 6 turnovers, but their defense played so well, and so many factors that Nebraska had to show tonight, and they've shown.
Well, they don't run the option as often as Oklahoma, but it is a high-risk offense when you're pitching back. But most of those turnovers have been the result of, as they say in the vernacular, the hard sticks from the defense. Nebraska with a 9-game win streak and an 11-1 record. Nebraska's only lost a 3-point defeat at Penn State early in the season, holding to a 1-point lead. Second down and a long 4 for the Huskers. Pitch back. Rozier is cut down at the 45-yard line. That's going to bring up 3rd down and about a yard for Nebraska as the game clock runs down to 3:35 to play. Don Criqui with John Brody, the Nebraska offense with all the muscle in the line and all the speed in the backfield, trying to power its way up the field, move the yard markers, and run the clock.
They will not snap the ball till there's just about 3 minutes left to play, maybe a little less. This is the longest yard of the night. If LSU wants a chance, they better stop him here.
Rozier has run for 115 yards, and he's not done yet. Did you see the game clock superimposed at the top? Rozier's ahead for a Cornhusker first down. So the ball is now out to the 49-yard line. We've been using an innovation tonight on NBC in this coverage of the Orange Bowl, the instant pre-play. We'll tell you before the play on certain occasions what player they isolated Cano and key on. This time it's the All-American center for Nebraska, Dave Remington. So you'll watch him in detail after we see what Nebraska does. Invariably, they'll be going to the run. Now it's the quarterback going to keep the ball. Turner Gill takes it inside the 45-yard line and down to the 44. Greg Dubrock knocked him down.
Down in those trenches, no one stopped. Ramsey Dardar and Dave Remington have been nose to nose all night long. Look, no one's winning that bout. That's been a standstill. I know Remington is a great offensive center, but Dardar's had a wonderful night. Their whole defense has been up to the task. They've got one more go to get, though, in order to get the ball back for their O's.
And after this game, nobody will ever again wear number 50 at Nebraska. Dave Remington's number, the 4th in Cornhusker football history to be retired. Back to the run inside the 45-yard line on 2nd and 3. Nebraska powering the ball right at LSU, and the Huskers get another first down with 2 minutes to play. The other Nebraska Cornhuskers whose numbers have been retired, the famed number 20 of the great Johnny Rogers, who played on back-to-back national championship teams. This has been retired, as has the number of Rich Glover and Tom Novak, who played back in the late 40s. Nebraska football, a proud tradition in the Cornhusker state, first came to prominence in the late 20s when Nebraska upset 2 Newt Rockne teams in Notre Dame in back-to-back years. Cornhuskers have been nationally prominent ever since. Here's a pitch back. Roger Craig runs, and Ramsey Dardar makes the hit and loses his head.
And they've got to call timeouts now. They've got 2 left. They've got to use them both, stop them without getting a first down in order to get the ball back.
So with 1:35 left to play in the 1983 Orange Bowl game, the clock is stopped, and we'll be back after this. .135 left to play. Nebraska holding to a 1-point lead. Huskers have the ball, 2nd down and about 11. Mark Moravec, a sure-handed fullback, doesn't have the breakaway speed, but right now the Huskers want to run the clock, and they're doing it with 1:24 to play.
Well, I'll tell you what they did. They just wasted about 8 seconds, because had they let it go on down, they still have 1 left. They could have called it after the next play, and there would have been no difference. And they're the sort of things that you get a little desperate and you lose a few seconds, and they can cost you.
LSU coming in as a big underdog, a 2-touchdown underdog with the Bengal Tigers from Baton Rouge. Have come in with the fight that has characterized LSU football over the years. This is a team that was 3-7-1 last year, picked at the outset of the season to be last in the SEC. That helped the Tigers of LSU, reading all that. Jerry Stovall had them ready, cracked the whip. They were ready to play from the outset. Stubbed their toe twice against 2 lesser opponents, but in the big games they played great football consistently. And Jerry Stovall, the only person to have played in the Orange Bowl as a collegiate player and also to come back to coach as a head coach, can be very proud of an effort that LSU has put out tonight. 1:23 to go. LSU, after building up a 17-7 lead over favored Nebraska, now trailing the Huskers by 1, 21-20, and a big night for Tom Osborne in Nebraska. A year ago, the Huskers came in favored to beat Clemson. Clemson won the game 22-15 and the national championship.
It'll be interesting to see now what they do on 3rd down and 9 yards to go. There are no more timeouts as far as LSU is concerned.
They're going to let it rip. Turner Gill puts it up. Caught. First down. Irving Fryer is out of the 25-yard line.
I'd have done the same thing. You cannot sit and let it go in a minute's time. You can move it down. Remember, they only needed a field goal. He made an excellent completion, 12 yards, first down. They can now sit on it, and the game is history.
I'd like to give our thanks while we have a moment to the Chancellor of Nebraska, Martin Massengale, the President Roskins, Athletic Director Bob Devaney, a legendary name in college football who coached Nebraska to his 2 national championship teams, the Sports Information Director Don Bryant, the Fox. It says that Rozier is the best runner they've ever had in Nebraska. Here's Rozier with the ball, taking it inside the 20 and down to the 18-yard line. And the fine people from LSU, the chancellor of that great school, James Wharton, the sports information director, Paul Manassin, their new athletic director, and a very competent one, Bob Broadhead. And always to the people of the Orange Bowl, it's a week-long celebration here in Miami, a civic event second to none. And it's been better than ever this year. It's been a delight to be around. It is every year, and that ain't PR. It's a great event. People do a lot of great work to get it going.
You said that right. This has been my 7th, and every year it just keeps improving.
Up the middle it goes, down to the 16-yard line. Charles Kimbrell, the current president of the Orange Bowl, Stephen Lynch III, Steve Hudson, Ben Benjamin, Bob Lafferty, Nick Crane, Stan Marks. As the clock winds down to 19 seconds in Nebraska. Hard fought as it was, is going to come away as the victor in the Orange Bowl. LSU powerless to stop the clock. Coach Osborne, a rare smile you see on the face of that man on the sideline. It was an all-out battle for 4 quarters. Nebraska the victor, and certainly for LSU, no shame in losing. So LSU, after falling behind 7-0, going in front, watches the power of Nebraska executed. And the Cornhuskers, when they had to deliver, did. Mixing the offense, the great quarterbacking of Gill and the running of Rozier, and a superb play, as you pointed out, John, of the overall defensive play. We'll be recapping this big football day in college football. Our thanks to producer Mike Wiseman, director John Gonzalez. Now for John Brody, this is Don Crickey. Final score, Nebraska 21, LSU 20. Now we go to Lynn Berman in New York.